How about now? There we go. Hey, everybody, how's it going? I am Ian Douglas. I'm the author of this website, Tech Interview Guide, here to help people out with tech interviews and so on. Got a couple of viewers in chat. Got a new little something on the wall over here. Can't really see it, but we got a painting from Babe Ross. If anybody follows Babe Ross online, that's a piece of her artwork over there. See if I can see, how can I easily show that? I think I can most easily show it with this. Let's do this. Hey HFW, how's it going? Let me switch over to this screen for a moment, and I will pull up let's see, where is it? It's in here somewhere. OBS really needs to make it a whole lot easier to find Chrome instances and so on. Let's see if this is gonna work. Nope. Disney. Got the kids watching a Disney movie right now. Nope, I am not able to easily find it. There's got to be an easier way to do this. This is so hard to show a browser in OBS. Seriously, shouldn't be that hard. All right, let me pull up. Let's put it on Disney Plus over here for a sec. And go find that browser, Disney Plus. I'm gonna drag this over here. My kids are watching Jungle Cruise movie. But this is the artwork that I got hanging on the wall over here. This is a piece of art that I got from Babe Ross. So if anybody follows Babe Ross, that's the first abstract photo that Babe Ross did on her stream. And I really liked it. I really enjoyed watching kind of the making of that. So I'm like, hey, can I buy that? She's like, yeah, sure. So we worked it out, and she shipped it, and it arrived earlier today. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I have a piece of art creation from another Twitch streamer hanging in my house, which is pretty fun. Cool. All right, well, let's head back over here. So HFW, so I got notified today that not just your packages, but every single package that I sent to Canada on the 28th got returned back to me. So this one, you can't make out the address or anything, but this one was yours. This was your customs form. And I filled out all the custom form like the same way for all of these packages. The one that is headed to Europe is on its way to Europe, finally. It took like a week just to get through customs in Los Angeles. So happy I paid for the extra speedy shipping. Spent like a week in LA just going through customs. But every single other package that I sent to Canada and one to Rwanda got returned to me. So 3 of them are sitting over here, HFW, including yours, as well as one for Freckled Science. And there's one for one of the email subscribers. The very first email subscriber that we drew out of the database for that giveaway lives in Rwanda, Africa. And that one also came back. And then I found out today that the one going to Pez lives, and there's one going to the Free Heathen and a couple others. Basically, every single package that I sent to Canada that day on the 28th, they're all coming back. And so it was a mistake on the part of the person who was at the post office, like typing this stuff into the computer. So when you fill out a customs form, I don't have any blank ones here. So I'll show you one where you can't see anything discernible. So the customs form, like I fill out my name and my address, and then your name and your address, and the fact that it's a gift. There's one thing in the box, how many ounces it weighs, and so on. It's the exact same form that I sent to everybody. And in fact, the packages that I sent to Canada just a few days later, they're on their way to Canada. But for some reason, whoever was at the computer that day when I brought all these packages in, they were typing in all the addresses and typing in the customs declaration. They did something wrong to where the label that got printed that they actually physically like put on the box was the wrong one. I don't know how. I mean, they had one job. This is what they're supposed to do for their job, and they didn't do it. So all of these packages got returned, and I've still got my receipt where I can go into them and say like, hey, I paid you all this money to ship these things to Canada, $22.10 a package. One of them went to India. It's on its way to India. A big one going to Europe, which cost $85, and then a coworker of mine is going to remail those out to everybody in Norway and Finland and so on when those arrive in Germany. But I had one to Rwanda, one, two, three, four to Canada, and all five of those packages are coming back to me. So I will get those turned around as soon as, like, I got to wait for the last two to come in because I just found out today that they arrived in Denver. Tomorrow they'll get through like Arvada to where I live and probably dropped on my doorstep tomorrow. So I'm hoping Saturday morning I can go like take them back to the post office and be like, you messed up, do it right, or give me a refund because you didn't do these right, and I will get them resent. So, and I'm gonna absolutely put my foot down that I don't owe them a penny extra for the shipping because they didn't do it right. It was their mistake, not mine. If it was like I filled out the wrong form and gave it to them, that would be one thing. But it was the form, it was the printed label that they print out on their computer. They just picked the wrong option on the computer. But what's weird is that that customs form is the same one that they printed out for India and for Africa, and those are traveling, or sorry, India and Europe, and those are traveling just fine. But the one that they did for Africa and all four for Canada, they didn't do right, and so customs kicked them back. So I apologize for the delay. I promise I tried to send them. On May 28th, I spent $225.75 on postage to get these things mailed out to people, and a bunch of them came back. Not at my own fault. So I will get it corrected and I will get them resent. It'll take another week and a half. But HFW, so you got a second one you asked me to ship to a friend in Canada. That one's on its way. I sent that one like a few days later and that one's on its way. So as far as I know, that one's still in transit on its way to Canada. It was just that day, that worker, something goofed up. So apologize for that. Hey, Sam Kit Kat, good to see you in chat as well. Hope everybody's doing good. Me too. So yeah, it's a nice painting in the background. Let me flip back over to that screen for a moment. So I've got this piece of artwork hanging on my wall now. It's the first abstract piece that Babe Ross painted on her channel. And let me give a shout out over to Babe Ross. So Twitch TV Babe Ross with 3 S's. So you can go check out Babe Ross. I don't know if she's still online painting right now. She was earlier. Yep, she's still online. So yeah, I've been a fan of her artwork for a while, and I happened to log in a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, this looks like a really cool painting. And when I pulled it out of the packaging that she sent today, my oldest was looking at it going, is that upside down? And I'm like, well, the cool thing about abstract is you can hold it any way you want, and you see a completely different picture. Like you could take it and rotate it 90 degrees, rotate it 90 degrees, rotate it 90 degrees, and you see something different every time. So I thought that was pretty interesting. On this one, I see kind of like a little island or like a little inlet thing and maybe some water, like a path or something this way. But if you rotate it 90 degrees to where the like these rust colors are vertical with the point of the V facing down, then it kind of looks like you're walking into a valley of a couple of mountains. If you flip it the other way where it's kind of upright, then you get different effects. And if you flip the whole thing upside down, then this whole part here looks like, a pond or something like Bob Ross would actually paint, like the big pond with all the stuff in the background. So I might just rotate this thing like 90 degrees like every couple of days because there's so much cool stuff in it. But I really like that piece of work. And so I bought it from Babe Ross. And she will sell the paintings that she makes on her stream. You just need to reach out to her on her Instagram, and she'll talk to you about pricing and shipping and all that good stuff. So cool. But yeah, hope everybody else is doing good. Let's go back over to the main screen over here. I've been printing fidget cubes like a madman lately. If you've been watching my stuff on MakerDeck, I'm not on MakerDeck right now. I wanted to shut it down for a little bit because I'm changing out the cameras and stuff. I got a new like overhead camera for the workbench, but been having a lot of fun with lots of different colors. So this is like a bright orange and a bright green, and how you can kind of customize the hinges. Another cool one that I made was the bright orange, and this is the sparkle, like the green sparkle glow in the dark. So it's kind of a gray, like a translucent gray in the daytime, and just put little like really light gray hinges on that one. This is all the green sparkle filament, but then it's got the two-tone blue filament that I printed a lot of those dragons in. And so I got those hinges in there. So I gave kind of an interesting look, and this one looks really neat to do at night if you leave it out, absorb some light, and then you turn the light off, and then you get to play with the fidget cube in the dark with it all sparkly and stuff. Looks pretty cool. What else have I got? I don't know. I've just been printing like a whole mess of these things in all the different colors. So this was like that 3-color blend of the rust charcoal black, or the rust charcoal gold. Rust, yeah, rust charcoal gold, like the 3-color blend that I did a lot of the dragons in. But these were so small that you barely see a transition from like the rust into the gold on one cube. So I'm starting to print larger trays of them, and you'll see more of the color transition on some of those. And I'm going to try some of the rainbow filaments and glow in the darks and stuff like that. So I got a set printing right now in the quantum filament of the red and the blue that we did this dragon in, where it's like red on one side and blue on the other. So imagine these cubes where like as you turn the cube, it's also going to change color. Thought that would be kind of neat. So yeah, so I got all kinds of neat ideas for fidget cubes. Probably targeting that for the kids giveaway in December. And what I'm thinking is we'll just bag these things up as little kits, and you can make your own. You can combine, say, I want these color of cubes and these color of hinges, and we give you like a little piece of paper on how to assemble it. And good luck. Here's your fidget cube. Or we'll assemble it for you for an additional 25 cents or something. I don't know. Good times. I think it'd be fun. But yeah, I found a couple of other cool, like little kit cards, as we call them, for the giveaway that we're going to do in October. But that'll be like later. That'll be like July after I get a whole bunch of stuff done at work this month. I'm going to be in San Francisco in a couple of weeks. So if you're in San Francisco and you want to hang out and grab a coffee or something, let me know. I fly in on Monday. I fly out on Friday. I've got meetings and stuff during the week, but in the evenings, I'll have a little bit of free time. If anybody's in the area and you want to hang out, drop me a line. Let me know. Let me know where I can meet you. Somewhere hopefully friendly to like Uber or Lyft or something like that that I can get around town, or the trolley car, or, whatever. But if you're in the San Francisco area, hit me up. Let me know. Let's meet for a coffee or something. So yeah, aside from that, I hope everybody's doing good. No strong agenda tonight. Could go through some Discord questions if you're interested in that. I did do a little more work on the clip bot thing for the YouTube and podcast audio. So I kind of want to try some of that. I'm going to try it live in production. I need a live stream for it to work. But I'm a little bit curious whether it will actually work in practice as we get this thing rolling here. So let's get on some other lights here so I'm not, well, that made it worse. All right, let me unpale myself here for a moment. Nope, that didn't help. Less pale. I want to be less pale. All right, let's try that. It's a little dark. Let's try that. That's better. Cool. So yeah, so I'll be playing around with some of that stuff. So later on when we raid somebody, I may keep streaming for a little while longer just to work on that chatbot a little bit more. Or if people are interested, I can just stay streaming, just show you like what I built and how I'm testing it and so on. But basically, I'm going to be pushing a bunch of content up to Airtable and using their API to read and write the stuff from Airtable. And then sort of when I say, hey, the stream's all over, then it's going to go in and say, okay, well, what was this clip about? I write in a description, and then I have to modify the script then that goes and pulls all that data to actually process all the short YouTube videos and podcasts. So we're almost there. I'm hoping I'm going to get that done before I go to San Francisco. And then I just want to queue up a whole bunch of that stuff and just let it run while I'm in San Francisco. And hopefully I come back and like there's a whole bunch of stuff like ready to just drag and drop into YouTube and podcast and stuff from there. So we'll see how that goes. What else is going on with all of you this week? OU Moon, good to see you in chat as well. Yeah, what's going on? Anybody got any job hunt, any job interviews? So I mentioned on the last couple of streams that what I want to do over the summer is I want the stream to be a little more hands-on, as far as helping people with, like, if you want help with a resume, send me a resume and I'll show you like live online, like this is how I'm gonna like modify your resume or something. Finally catching one of your streams. Hey, Tech Titan, good to see you. And thanks for the follow, Demios Luna. Not sure if that's how you pronounce your username, but I'll give you some blinky lights and a little greeting sound in the background. It's always good to have followers, so appreciate that. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh, so I want this stream to be more like demonstration. Like if you want me to help you research a company, drop the company name in the chat, and we'll find, like, I'll show you my process for how I'm going to go research that company, and like based on what's important to me. What's important to you is going to be a little bit different from what's important to me, and so I might look for different sorts of like cultural types of things within the company than you might. But I want to show you that process just to be a little more hands-on, instead of like, oh yeah, you want to research a company, like, yeah, you should totally research a company. Like I actually want to show you how to research a company. So I do want to kind of switch gears on that a little bit over the summer and be a little more hands-on with how to do these things, how to network, how to write those outreach messages and so on to LinkedIn, and then help people with introductions. If you want an introduction on LinkedIn, I'm very happy to do that. I think I've got an introductions command in chat, introductions. If you want an introduction through LinkedIn, here's some instructions over here. You can go open that on GitHub and it'll show you like, hey, go connect with me or whoever. Like you can use your connections on LinkedIn to go see if somebody knows somebody at whatever company. So if I was looking for a job with, Father Funk 3D, who do I know over there? If I don't know anybody, who do I like? Let me just go find somebody with big networks. Like, if you know me, reach out to me, or you can go through my profile basically to say, does Ian know anybody at Father Funk 3D? And if I do, I'll make an introduction. If I don't, I might be able to know somebody, like I might know somebody who knows somebody that works there. And I'm happy to make like third-party introductions. The reason that that's helpful, someone actually did some research. You are more likely to find a new job through second-degree connections than first-degree connections. So you can every recruiter out there, everybody that gives job advice, we're going to tell you like, hey, go connect with the company. Go find someone at the company to connect to. That's all fine and good. But when you know somebody that knows somebody at the company, you're more likely to get a job that way. Because when you make that cold outreach to them, they don't really know you. But if somebody at the company knows me and they trust my relationship and I say, hey, let me tell you about Tech Titan. This has been my experience. This has been my history. They're looking to get to know your company a little bit. Do you have time for a phone call? Now I'm sort of letting you borrow my trust with that other person. And they're way more likely to get in touch with you. And you're more likely to get a job. You're more likely to get a phone call and an interview. And then from there, maybe get a job. You're more likely for that to happen than just cold outreach and say, hi, I'm Ian. I have these technical skills. I'd like to talk to somebody there about a job. You're way more likely if you can get an introduction. It's even more powerful if someone within the company can make an introduction to HR on your behalf. And that's usually why we tell you, like, find someone at the company that you can reach out to and then have them go to HR and talk about you, because that's a much more likely scenario for you to get a job. So definitely take advantage of your networks and how you reach out to people and how you respond, and how you sort of nurture and take care of your networks and things like that. Because it really, really does make a difference, especially in the tech industry. It can make a really big difference for those introductions. Tech Titan says, I've been at the same company for 23 years. The biggest downfall to that is they don't always reward those with loyalty versus hiring off the street. That is true. You're more likely to get a higher salary coming in off the street. There have been stories where someone's like, I got tired of not being paid enough, so I quit, I left, and then I came back like a year or two later and I made like way more money. Sometimes they don't know what they got until they lose it. And some companies, when you say like, hey, I'm thinking about leaving, then they scramble. Suddenly, then there's money. My feeling with that is if you tell the company like, hey, I'm thinking about leaving because I'm not happy with my pay, and they're like, okay, bye, and then you leave, that's one thing. But some companies will say like, well, wait, we don't want you to leave. Like, we'll pay you X dollars more. It's like, well, but you didn't pay me that money in the first place. Suddenly now you can pay me that money. Like some companies are like, oh, we can't give you a raise. We can't afford it right now. But then when you threaten to leave, suddenly they've got money to pay you. That's what feels weird to me. Because as a business, like as a hiring manager, I have a responsibility to the business to pay you as little as possible. That's just the reality of it. We have a bottom line. I've got a budget that I need to stick to, that I need to follow. I need to pay you as little as possible so that I've got more budget for other things that we need to do within the business. And it's an unfortunate part of the, just being in business. That's just the way businesses run. Um, and so if they pay you less and they kind of give you some story like, oh, we really can't afford raises right now or this year, like it's the way it is. But then you threaten to leave and then suddenly they can come up with additional money. Sometimes it's a bad thing. Sometimes they'll give you that raise to try to retain you, but then they're like, well, if we actually hired someone else, we might be able to bring them in at less money, um, especially if you've been there for a really long time. So, especially in the tech industry, I often tell people like, know your value, know what you're worth to others in the industry. It's way more likely that you're going to get a substantial raise by leaving your job and going and getting a new job than to stay where you are and hope that you get more than a cost of living increase. Because that's mostly what companies are doing. They're like, all right, inflation went up 8%, so we'll give everybody like an 8% raise. It's like, hey, pat us on the back. We just gave you this really nice 8% raise. It's like, yeah, I can afford the same amount of groceries as I could like last year. Um, like it's not, you didn't really give them a raise. You're just letting them sustain, really. And it's like I said, it's an unfortunate part of the business. But it's part of doing business. So yeah, Tech Titan, I agree with what you said. A lot of companies are willing to pay more for new talent coming in than to retain the talent that they have. And the unfortunate part with that is if there's a high enough turnover where people are leaving every 2-3 years, you end up losing a lot of internal knowledge and something we call brain drain, where you're losing all the people that know how all these things work. You're losing all the people that built these things, that know the architecture, that know what's going on. You're losing all those people. And now you're replacing them with people that don't know those systems. They're scrambling. They're trying to learn. They might learn like 70% of it. And the stuff that they don't know, they're going to go reinvent. And so you're spending extra time and wasting a lot of extra time trying to reinvent all that kind of stuff to then turn around and 2 or 3 years later they leave. And now the people coming in only learn 60 or 70% of what they knew. So unless you're like constantly innovating, constantly inventing, like a lot of your old systems are just sitting around collecting dust, digital dust, and it's what we call tech debt. You're accruing the debt of not understanding how these systems work or how to maintain them or how to upgrade them and so on, to where people are like, I don't know how that system works. I don't even want to touch it. I'm just going to go rebuild it, because it's critical, it's working, but we need, like, nobody here knows it now. And so we need to like start all over again. And that's a huge waste of time and money. I would have spent less money as a business retaining those people by paying them what they're worth than to go through this hassle every 2 or 3 years where we're constantly rewriting things because people leave because I didn't pay them enough in the first place. So it's a weird cycle for sure. Kisu19 says, hey, Ian, so glad you could make it on time. Me too. Thanks for dropping by. Good to have first-time chatters. We've got Devil Bird in here as well. Hey, Ian, you need to tell my husband that. He thinks he can't get the same compensation elsewhere. Absolutely, you can. You've got knowledge that you can bring to another job. And excuse me, folks that hang out on my stream, you'll hear me talk a lot about how that first introduction to the company is, here's the value I bring. Here's how I'm going to make your company better. Here's how I'm going to make your team better. Here's how I'm going to make everything that you do here better by hiring me. That's without sounding arrogant. Like, you don't want to come off cocky while you say all that kind of stuff. But that's basically what you're presenting to them, is this is how I'm going to make things better around here. This is how I'm adding to the team. Not that I'm a drain on the team. I'm bringing something to the team. And that's an important part of that. And then because you know that value, you know your worth, then that makes it even easier then to do negotiations and so on and get paid for what you're worth. And in the tech industry right now, like, yeah, there's a lot of news reports that came out. It's like, oh, 15 to 17,000 jobs lost in the tech sector alone last month. Th- Folks, there's still like 3 million unfilled jobs in the tech sector. So, okay, those 15,000 people are going to have new jobs within a month. Like, it sounds easier than it is, especially if you're new in tech. If you're new in tech, it's much, much harder to get a job. But if you've got experience in any kind of industry, you can carry that experience to the next job and show that employer how you're bringing that value and that knowledge and kind of a different perspective on things for how they do it, whatever they do, whether it's tech or not, you can still bring that value to that other company and show them how you're going to make things better. And then you can negotiate on that for money. Shalom, good to see you. How are we all doing tonight? Well, I'm doing good. Paying your employees as little as possible isn't smart business sense if you're looking past your annual budget. Yeah, that's true, Faint Signal. That's exactly what I was saying. It would be cheaper for me to give people the money they're worth and retain them than to have like a constant churn and worry about retention and have all these new people coming in every year, 2 years, 3 years, and have to train them, teach them all these different systems, let them explore and learn all these things on their own because all the people that left took all the knowledge with them. And now they're going to struggle and it's going to slow my business down. They're more likely to reinvent something that we've already got because they don't even know that we've already got some other kind of system already made for that. They're more likely to go waste a bunch of time and money rebuilding all that anyway. I might as well have kept the person. So yeah, you're right. It's a if the distance that they're looking is their annual budget, it's a really poor way of doing business. But that's what we're seeing in the tech industry right now. People like I don't want to get like too much on a soapbox here, but I might. Um, I think what we saw over the past year, we saw salaries like start blowing up where people started paying like ridiculous amounts of money. This also happened back in 2000, like leading up to 2001, early 2001, when we saw a .com crash and a lot of things took a really big hit in 2001 because people were offering ridiculous salaries, equity in companies and whatever. And then these companies went bust and all that equity they promised you went poof. And you lost that amazing salary and all the perks and whatever. And then it kind of like, gradually evened out. And then it started kind of picking back up again in 2008, 2009. And we saw the thing with the real estate market and whatever kind of pick up then. And then that started crashing. And now it kind of started picking up again, where we're starting to see, like over the past year, all these companies were suddenly paying all these ridiculous salaries again. And then the market starts to waver just a little bit. And all these tech companies are like, wait, never mind. Instead of hiring, 300 or 400 new people, we're going to lay off 10% of our staff instead. Instead of hiring, we're going to lay people off. It's really harsh. In fact, one of the three, so when I did my job hunt back in December and January, I narrowed it down to 3 companies. And I'm really glad that I took the job at Postman. The other, like I had narrowed it down to 2. And the other job I was really considering would have been a director level role. That company just did a giant layoff. And I probably would have lost that job. I would have been back on the job market. It's unfortunate. The nice thing, I mean, if you can see a silver lining in losing your job, the nice thing about it is you have a story to tell where it's not your fault that you lost your job. You took a job at a company, the company laid you off. Hopefully they pay you a severance and that carries you over financially long enough to get a new job. That's why they often give that kind of severance package. But I think that that's what we saw is we saw like all these companies suddenly like trying to outdo each other and compete for all the top talent out there, forgetting for a minute about all the junior talent that is amazing out there that they need to be hiring as well. But they're trying to get all this really experienced talent, pay these ridiculous salaries, and then turn around and go, wait, we're burning through cash like crazy. We need to start laying people off. well, do they lay off the senior devs that they're paying these ridiculous salaries to that they just hired, or do they lay off other people that have maybe been around and maybe haven't advanced? Or do they lay off the junior devs because they're not as effective or efficient as the senior devs? Like, you don't know what's going to happen there. Or do they just kind of do sweeping, layoffs? And it's unfortunate that we're seeing that happen. And I don't know that that cycle is ever going to go away. I see it happening over and over again in the tech industry. I've been doing this for 26 years. This is the third or fourth like major swing that I've seen, at least the third, where companies started trying to outdo each other on salaries and perks and compensation packages and the whole bit. And then suddenly something happens in the market and these companies either go bankrupt or they just lay off, 10, 20, 30% of their staff to try to stay afloat as a business. Um, and then, they're all over the news and they get bad press and whatever. And, some of them change their name, some of them change what they do, some of them fold. It's just the reality of it to some degree, but I've seen it at least 3 times now. And it's ridiculous to watch. Like from an outsider's perspective, like when I was doing this job hunt in December and January, and one of these companies was offering like, I think the total comp package was like 350K. And I'm like, that's a dumb amount of money to pay me for what I'm going to be doing at that job. Like that's like double what I should be making. And it feels weird to say that too. That means some of that's kind of my imposter syndrome kicking up. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I'm probably worth that kind of salary at some companies. But for me, I always felt really uneasy about like, oh, we're going to pay you this much money, this much money, this much money. As that money starts going up and up and up, I start feeling a little uneasy of like, am I actually worth that much? Like, do I actually provide that much value on a regular kind of daily basis or weekly basis to justify that kind of salary? Like, that's just my own imposter syndrome kicking in. Devilbird says, my husband is agreeing, said he just read an article about that today about Carvana just did a layoff. I hadn't heard about Carvana. VMware just laid off a whole bunch of people, and a recruiter from VMware just reached out to me this week, going, "Hey, VMware is hiring people, and your background looks exciting. Like, come interview with us." And I'm like, "Why? You just laid off a bunch of people. Like, it's ridiculous." Husband says junior devs because the seniors are locked in, can't get the salary elsewhere. To some degree, but I mean, other companies are still hiring those senior devs. But like Facebook, they did a hiring freeze. Um, I don't think I don't think I've heard of any of the other FAANG companies like hiring, like stopping their hiring or pausing on hiring. They may slow it down a little bit, but they're not going to say like, "Hey, we're not hiring anybody else for like a couple of months or something like that." Carvana was 2,500 people. It's ridiculous. Devilbird's husband's still trying to hire for 10 open positions. If you've got junior dev positions, we have a lot of junior devs dropping by that would love to be in touch with you about how to get a job in tech. Um, so if you're in the tech industry and you're hiring entry level, then they would love to talk to you. And if your husband's interested in talking to me about like the hiring practice and the interview practice and things like that, I'd love to kind of pick their brain as well. They are junior dev positions. Can you drop a link in chat for us? That would be fantastic. And I'll put that up in the excuse me. I'll put that in the YouTube description later on when I put the video online. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. I'm gonna hydrate for a sec. I can't tell you what I'm drinking, but I'll give you a big hint. He needs mid-level positions too. Fantastic. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Um, yeah, yeah, I would love it. Um, every time I see Leon, the Learn with Leon stream start to wind down, I see everybody like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm always like, please rate into my channel. Nope, he didn't raid me. Hiccup Interactive. No idea who that is. 1,500 person raid. I would love to get a raid from Leon someday. I think that would be pretty fantastic. That would be pretty sweet for sure. Not that lucky, but that's okay. Anyway, um, but yeah, the 100 devs team is really great, and I've tried reaching out a couple times to some folks who are going through 100 devs, And I would love to have some of them on the stream in July and August and hear a little bit about kind of their learning process and their job hunt process, especially those that go through that program and actually get jobs. If anybody here knows anybody at 100 Devs who, like as a student, if you're on their Discord or anything like that, I'd love to chat with them. For some reason, they kicked me out of their Discord. I have no idea why. They kicked me out. I tried reaching out to Leon. I sent him a Twitter message, and he replied to the Twitter message. And I was just saying, like, hey, I appreciate that you share your knowledge with others. And he's like, oh, thanks. And that was it. But I sent him an email saying, like, hey, like, I'd love to help with mentorship. I do career guidance and stuff like that for the tech industry. How can I get involved? How can I help? And never heard back. So, Whip, good to see you in chat. Hello. Good to see you. Hey, Caranto, good to see you as well. Got Daddy Wazzy, the creator. Got all kinds of folks dropping by. Husband is listening as he drives. Would happily talk with you. That'd be fantastic. That'd be really cool. Squirrel Master's in here as well. So yeah, so for those, I don't think I've seen any other names other than HFW, but anybody in Canada that won the Dragon giveaway, a bunch of the boxes that I sent on May 28th got returned to me because the person at the post office didn't print the right sticky label to put on the box. So they all got sent back to me. So I'm getting the last 2 back tomorrow. So basically they spent over a week in Los Angeles, like going through the customs department. And I'll show you what they sent back. So it's just a sticker on the box saying return to sender, incomplete customs form, insufficient content description. So on the custom forms that I fill out, I always put down at the bottom, it's a gift. It's a 3D printed dragon or a 3D printed dragon toy. But I have a feeling that when they filled out this label to stick on the box, that they didn't actually write down what was in the box. So they said quantity 1, weight 10 ounces, $5 value. Detailed description of contents. They wrote the word toy. That's all they wrote on here was the word toy. Well, they want to know what kind of toy is it. And the person was just too lazy to type in 3D printed dragon model toy or something like that. So these got sent back. This one was destined for freckled science. So I was writing like science on the box and stuff like that. And it would have been, at the time, it would have been the first package getting to her new PO box. And so I was writing like first package on here, but then they slapped a sticker over it anyway. So, but yeah, $22.10 worth of postage. And they all got sent back to me. So one of them was destined for Africa. It got sent back, and 4 of them going to Canada got sent back. So I've got 3 of the boxes. 2 more are arriving, I think, tomorrow. So Saturday morning, I'm going to go back to that post office and be like, you need to refund this money. I'm hoping that technically it was a U.S. Postal Service place, although they said that they were like a contractor for USPS. I'm hoping that I can actually take this to USPS and say, look, I paid the USPS money. Somebody filled out the wrong form. You need to fix this. And we'll get those resent on Saturday. So apologies for the delay on that. Devilbird used to work for USPS and then UPS. Such an easy form. Apparently it's really easy to mess up. So they basically sent it back and they put this big yellow sticker on it saying, attention, postal customer, you didn't do this right. And it's like, I did everything right. I filled out this form exactly as I was supposed to. I've sent dozens of these. I've sent a bunch of these, all different countries. And the only ones that have had a problem are these 4 packages for Canada on May 28th and 1 package going to Africa on May 28th. But the packages going to Europe and the packages going to India, they're on their way. It was only the ones going to Canada and Africa that they kicked back. So, good times. Anyway, hey, Digital Dragon, good to see you as well. So yeah, so it was a lot of sort of ranting and raving and not being productive as far as a good streamer, but just wanted to bring everybody up to speed as far as what's going on with those packages, because I promise I tried to send them. And I've sent tracking information to everybody else. So if you are in Canada or if you're in another country and you're able to track US Postal Service packages, then you'll be able to kind of keep tabs on where your dragons are. Um, and then hopefully they'll all start arriving soon. Digital Dragon got their dragon today. Sweet. It was supposed to arrive on Monday, but a note on the tracking said they couldn't access the delivery location. It's a house and you delivered other mail that day. Good times, good times. I think I did see the exception email on that. So I basically wrote down like email me when it gets delivered or if there's a problem with the delivery. And I did see one, but I didn't go look up like who it was. So I'm glad they redelivered it at least. Daddy Wes, he says, I just went to the mailbox and there be a dragon. Hooray. We'll get some pictures on the socials. So here's my LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I'm Ian Douglas 736 on all those. I'd love if you could tag me in some pictures and let me know like where it's hanging out. I always love to see like what do people like do, like where do you pose them? I've seen people like wrap them around plants, put them on windowsills, do all kinds of really interesting creative things, or just drape it on top of the monitors, all that kind of stuff. So if you've got a moment and you want to take a picture and just post that online, I would love to get tagged in some of that. Um, yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Cool. Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, I thought I'd just jump into Discord, maybe answer a couple of those anonymous questions. Like I said, I've been working on the clip bot the last couple of evenings to try to get that automation stuff rolling a little bit more. Now that the giveaway's done and I don't have to pay quite as much attention to the 3D printers, because all I'm printing these days are these little like infinite, fidget cube things. Um, I've got more time now to work on the bots. So I'm trying to get the clip bot working where when I answer a question, I like set a little marker and you'll see some stuff show up in the chat over here for that. And what that's going to do eventually is write all that stuff into a database of the timestamp. So right now I'm about 42 minutes into the stream, or 46 minutes, I guess, 46 minutes, 10 seconds or so into the stream. That it's going to set a timestamp saying like, oh, this is when Ian started answering that question. Here's when Ian stopped answering that question. So I've got like start and stop buttons on my stream deck for that. And then those are going to get written into a database. And then later something's going to go read that database and go, okay, what do I need to process for YouTube? What do I need to process for the podcast? And it's going to go like clip out just that portion of the video and then extract the audio from that video for the podcast. So the podcast is up on like Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play Music, and Pandora, and like a handful of others. It just automatically syndicates from the place that I uploaded those to. And then you can do, I think, Bang Podcast. It'll give you some information about the podcast. And then it takes the video that it extracted and it puts like a little intro and outro sort of beginning and end on that. And it's going to prepare that for YouTube. So then I can just go into YouTube and I can I've got the descriptions and everything. I just copy and paste those into YouTube. Ultimately, what I want to do is instead of copying and pasting that stuff to YouTube and having to drag those videos over or upload all the MP3 files for the podcast, is have that automated as well. So that at the end of the stream, I hit a button and it goes through and it asks, what did you do at this timestamp? What did you do at this timestamp? And I can just kind of like go back and watch like just portions of the video. And then it'll like do all of that other stuff. It'll clip everything out, upload it all for me. That's where I want to get to. Because I want this stuff to be available for other people online in an easily digestible format. Because not everybody, like, I do get a lot of views on YouTube, which is great. I'm starting to see that tick up a little bit, and that's fantastic. And I'm debating still live streaming on YouTube and Twitch at some point, and doing both platforms. But for the time being, I'm just going to stay on Twitch and put the stuff on YouTube later on. But not everybody's going to sit and watch like a 90-minute, 2-hour long Twitch stream on YouTube after the fact. Part of being on Twitch is that it's interactive. You ask me questions in chat, or Devilbird drops these links over here, and I can go open those links and go, oh yeah, cool, check out these jobs. If anybody, by the way, wants to redeem channel points for job post critique, I'll go critique these and give Devilbird's husband some live feedback on what I think of the job posts. But part of why I want to clip these into smaller videos is to make them a little more consumable for folks who only have a couple of minutes at a time. And I also put them into playlists. So if you want information on, here's just general interview advice, here's advice on behavioral questions, here's advice on technical questions, and those smaller videos then are going to go into those other playlists. And so then if you can subscribe to the playlist or watch the playlist, and it'll just go through all those. Same thing with the resume reviews. I've got a whole playlist on YouTube. Here's my YouTube link, by the way. If you want to go check out YouTube, it's just youtube.com/Ian Douglas. If you're watching this on YouTube already, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate getting some more exposure over there. But I've got a whole bunch of resume reviews on there. And so the resumes that we just reviewed on Sunday, I want to like clip those and put those into that playlist. And so I've got plans. I got grandiose plans for this stuff. I just needed time to sit down and code it because I still got a lot of stuff going on at work. I'm still going to be pretty busy at work for the next 2 weeks. And then I'll be in San Francisco. Well, actually, I got this week and next week, and then I'm in San Francisco. I've lost a whole week. Oh no. I was trying to budget my time and I just realized I'm a week short on my time. I'm going to be drinking some coffee and having some late nights, I think. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I've just got these fidget cubes going on the printers now, and they don't take quite as long as the dragons, but they're pretty fun. And I'm just printing out like just tons and tons of different colored cubes and hinges and stuff like that for the kids to kind of assemble. And we've got like a bunch of neighborhood kids, so I want to like give a bunch of these to the neighborhood kids and get them to tinker with them and see how well they hold up like over the course of the summer. Some of the kids are younger, so I have to be careful. Like if they take them apart and the hinges come out, they don't like stick the little hinge up their nose or something, or try to swallow it or something like that. But anyway, good times. So what else is going on with everybody? Yeah, let's go. I want to go take a look at these job posts now. Anybody think I should do a job post critique? Anybody feel like redeeming some channel points for me? So these jobs are in Phoenix, Arizona. We got some front end, got some full stack, help desk, IT project manager, QA analysts, network engineers, software engineer, RPG, role-playing games. You make role-playing games? Oh, night transportation. Oh yeah, I see your trucks all over the place. That's cool. Cloud engineer, DevOps engineer, team lead, engineer leader for platform and for support, director of IT security, lots of full stack developer roles, platform engineer. Dang, there's a lot of jobs. UX engineer, senior vulnerability security analyst, system admin engineer, so like DevOps roles, systems integration developer. These look like, I mean, the job titles are cool. All right, thanks, OU Moon. All right, we got to redeem for some critique going on. So we'll jump over here. Tech Titan says tomorrow family and I are doing some downhill mountain bike riding. That sounds terrifying. I like mountain biking. I like downhill skiing, but downhill mountain bike riding, I'm not equipped for that. I would hit something and I would go flying off that bike and I would really hurt myself, I think. Sounds fun in theory, but anyway. Yeah, let's dive in on some of this. Let me resize this a tiny bit here. And yeah, let's see what we get. Let me shrink this up one batch here, I think. Cool. Let's go find one of these. So they said they had some entry-level roles. I mean, developer 2 sounds like it will be more junior than developer 3. So let's go see what night transportation is up to. Tech Titan says, you think skiing is expensive? It has nothing on this sport. Yeah. Oh, I know. Like mountain bikes are ridiculous for sure. All right. Well, let's try the clip bot. I need to pay attention to see whether I crash my own bot, because this is all brand new code that I've been writing. So we'll see what happens over here. MPRCD, good to see you in chat. All the full stack and the development team leads are mine. Awesome. Oh, so MPRCD, this is the person, this is the husband of Devilbird. Okay, cool. I thought you were trying to say like, I want all those jobs. You're actually the person hiring for these jobs. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'll try to go easy on you since you're here. I will say sometimes these job post critiques get a little salty, but only because I've been doing this for a long, long time. So sweet. All right, well, let's dive in a little bit. Let's see whether this thing's working. All right, well, that marker crashed. So I've got some work to do. I can only really test this while I'm live streaming. So testing in production, but here we go. All right, so work with the industry leader. As the most profitable and fastest growing truckload carrier, we're driven to innovate the transportation industry. Seeking growth and opportunity with an industry leader. What do we live by? Our people. Cool. We're powered by people and gasoline powered trucks. We're committed to a culture of high expectations and exceptional performance. We hire good teammates who share our values, unselfishly take personal accountability for results, and bring innovative ideas to the table. Cool. Our people are passionate about continual learning, display honesty and mutual respect, and give their best every day. I'm going to move this over here so I'm not like cranking my neck. Join our night family as we offer results-driven people a place to make a difference in a stable and maturing industry. It's pretty good. It's a little buzzwordy, but it really gets the point across that you have an expectation on the people that they're bringing ideas to the business. That you're not expecting people to just show up and be told what to do. You want their active participation in trying to figure out the innovation and stuff like that. So, NPRCD says, I don't care. They're mostly from HR. I just get to put in a little input. That's cool. Cool. Job responsibility. So I just picked full stack developer 2. It sounded like the lowest number edging towards a junior level job, but we'll see what we get here. So implement and review web designs that are responsive, provide rich user experience, part of the team that develops Agile. Okay. So what you will do, you'll work with a development team and product manager to ideate software solutions. Design client-side, server-side architecture. Okay, so it's a full stack role. Develop and manage well-functioning apps. Test software to ensure efficiency and responsiveness. Cool. At a really high level, this is what a developer does. Qualifications, what you need to bring. Previous experience in a front-end language, etc. are required. JavaScript is a capital S. I'm pretty picky on that with people that I coach about resumes, like make sure you spell things right. And that's also something to tell companies too. Previous experience in a general purpose modern backend language like Ruby, Rails, Python, Java. So Rails is not a language. Rails is a framework, but Ruby, Python, and Java are languages. You could say modern backend stack, where you could say like Ruby on Rails, Python / Django, Java Spring. If you're going to put one framework in there, then put others. But you want to be careful not to make people think like these are the only options, or that these are the options that the company really likes. But we'll get into that a little bit more. So previous experience in a general purpose, modern, etc. You don't really say what that experience needs to be, which I like. So you're leaving it a little bit open for interpretation. Like, is project experiences okay? Excuse me. Is project experience okay, or do you want like professional work experience in this? Bachelor's degree in computer science. You just lost me on this one, honestly. If they're doing front-end development and they're building on existing frameworks, they do not need a computer science degree of any kind. They really don't. You're going to lose out on a lot of people. A lot of people are going to look at that, even though you're saying or related field, computer science or related field, or equivalent combination of education or experience required. This is automatically going to exclude a lot of people who would be perfect for this job, who are going to look at this job post and go, I don't qualify because of the education requirements on here. And so a lot of people aren't going to apply for this job. This needs to get taken off. You need to just say, if you've got work experience, if you can demonstrate that you have experience working in this, great, go ahead and apply for the job. But putting a hard requirement on here that they need to have a bachelor's degree, that's a 4-year degree. That's automatically excluding a large part of the population who can't afford a college or university degree, who maybe are going through a boot camp or maybe coming through self-taught. Equivalent combination of education, so you're still expecting they've got some level of training plus work experience. You don't quantify it. Like, you don't say like you need a 4-year degree or you need some kind of education plus 5 years of experience. Like, you're not putting numbers on there, but you're still putting a pretty high barrier to entry on here from the education perspective. Most of these jobs will not require a CS degree. I've been in the industry for 26 years. You do not need a CS degree to do this kind of work. If they are building low-level systems where like scalability is like utmost importance, then yes, they will need some of that kind of training, but that's also something that you can train them on. That's something that you can help them learn, give them extra like tuition reimbursement that they can go learn that little bit of what they don't have on the job, but they do not need a CS degree for a lot of this. And I say this about a lot of job posts too. You should not have a requirement of education on here. We looked at one. It wasn't Sunday. I think it was last Thursday. We looked at one. It's like, have you got a GED? Like you can apply for this job if you got a GED. It's like, cool, okay, that's better. But a lot of people are going to be coming out of code schools that are perfectly qualified for this job, and they're going to look at this and go, I don't have a bachelor's degree. Most code schools are going to tell them, hey, go apply anyway. But if your HR team is looking at this and saying, like, no, we're not going to like consider anybody unless they've got a degree, you're losing out on a lot of good talent. So I would give some feedback like tomorrow to your HR team going, hey, I had a industry pro take a look at this and they said to nix this. I would take out that whole bullet point. If they've got experience and they can demonstrate that as part of the interview, then they need a shot at the job. But don't put an education requirement on that. Must possess interpersonal skills. Yep, absolutely. That's an important part of being on a team. Must be able to prioritize and plan work activities appropriately. That comes with experience. If they are new in the industry, if you're hiring a junior level person for a role like this, they're not going to know how to prioritize things. So you're going to have to teach them how to prioritize, or you're going to have to just prioritize things for them for the first year of their career. And so having a requirement that they can plan their own work is going to feel a little daunting to entry level people trying to come into this job. Now, given that this is a level 2, this might be more intermediate, in which case this is appropriate to have on the job post. I didn't see any that were explicitly calling out like junior level type of roles. Maybe there was on this other page. Full stack developer 1. Let's go look at that one instead. I have a feeling a lot of this is going to be the same anyway. Nope, it's a little different. So cool. Let's look at this one then. So now that we know that this is coming from a junior level role, the reality is they pass everything on to us with any experience, and then the hiring leader chooses to interview them or not. Okay, cool. Faint Signal says in chat, in Canada, our equivalent of community college grads would not have a bachelor's degree either. Yeah, I've got a community college degree from Canada, and I don't have a bachelor's degree. I mean, at this point, I still go apply for those jobs anyway. But yeah, I wouldn't qualify for this job if it was required to have a degree. So I like that the company's willing to be flexible, but if they're willing to be flexible, then take it off the job post. If it's not a hard requirement, then take it off the job post. Otherwise, people aren't even going to apply for the job that could be perfectly qualified and fit in your company culture amazingly well and be really great workers. But they're going to see that and think that they shouldn't apply for the job. Hey, Time Reveal. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Cool. Let's dive back in here. So incumbents assist with developing web designs that are responsive, provide rich user experience. Okay. So this we found, so full stack developer 1. So this is going to be like more your entry level type of role. So conduct hands-on coding for feature development and test automation. Yep. Attend sprint planning meetings and report on development progress. Cool. Attend scrum meetings, report on progress and escalate any blocks. That's kind of the same sort of, well, no, they're different. Sprint planning and report on development progress. Development progress usually isn't at a sprint planning meeting. A sprint planning meeting is just like, we got everything else done. Here's what we're working on next. If something didn't get finished, that's a whole other issue. But everything should get finished within a sprint. But attending scrum meetings, provide progress, escalate blocks. That's exactly what scrum meetings are for. Manage data for production and test environments. Monitor production systems. So this is a little vague, especially for an entry-level person. Most of them aren't going to have any idea what monitoring even is or what observability is on those systems. And so expecting that someone's going to come in with that experience is going to be pretty rare, unless they're coming in with like 1 year of experience from another job where they've done some of this. But for like a brand new grad or someone coming out of a boot camp, they're not going to have any idea what this even means. Like they're going to go Google what does monitoring a system look like, and they're going to go learn about New Relic and Datadog and companies like that. And they're going to feel very overwhelmed at like, I don't know how to do any of that. So you might want to either expand on that a little bit or put it as like a nice to have, as opposed to this is what this is what you're going to do, because some people are going to look at that and go, I don't know how to do that. So if that's something that I'm going to be expected to do, then maybe I shouldn't apply for the job. Define and update technical business. Refine and update technical and business skills and experience through work assignments, advanced tech building, business training, and attending. This is a lot of words. Refine and update technical and business skills and experience through work assignments, advanced technical and business training, and attending professional business industry conferences. This is a lot of words to say professional development. I think you could simplify the language on this bullet point quite a lot by just saying, like, you are a continual learner, and we're going to provide opportunities for both technical and business level skills through training and conferences, or something along those lines. I think you could simplify the language on that a lot. Maintain a positive work atmosphere by acting and communicating in a manner which facilitates the success in order to meet company demands and expectations. Yeah, it's weird that we have to call that kind of stuff out these days, but some people don't know how to act. So I think that's fine. Proactively work to assist others in achieving the org's objectives. I would probably also put like a bullet point on here too, that they're willing to share what they know with other people on the team and help everybody on the team kind of learn and grow. I think that would be a fantastic thing to sort of call out. Previous experience in a front-end language, okay, required. Previous experience in a general purpose, modern back-end language like these, again, I would take Rails off of there, is also required. I would say for an entry-level role, this is a pretty big ask, unless they've done like a full stack boot camp. Most devs coming out of like a college or university, they'll have done probably Python, Java, maybe C#, things along those lines. But they're probably not going to, and maybe Ruby, but they're probably not going to have done like full stack web apps as far as like having both front end and back end from that perspective. So I think that there are a couple of things there that we could take a look at. But you know, it's meant to be a full stack job. And so these are qualifications that you're expecting them to bring. One thing I might state here is for bootcamp grads coming out of like full stack programs, they're probably only learning JavaScript for both front end and back end. So maybe list JavaScript in here as a back end language, even if it's not one that you're going to be using on the job. Just that way they can look at that and go, well, I've done back end, but it's none of these languages, even though you say etc. I think it might be beneficial for some of those entry-level folks to actually call out JavaScript on here. I think that would be beneficial. Knowledge of database systems and SQL preferred. So this is now where you're deviating a little bit from required skills to nice to have skills. I would actually separate that. So when I would write job posts, I said, these are things you have to have in order to even apply. This next batch of bullet points are things I hope you have. Like, it's like a leg up on all the other competition if you happen to also have these other skills. That would be in a separate list altogether. And again, I would get rid of the bachelor's degree on here. Must possess and all these things. I think we're fine. We kind of talked about those in the other job post. Competitive starting salary commensurate with experience. If you are open to remote work, keep in mind that some locations, like where I live in Colorado, by law, if you're going to try and recruit people from Colorado, you have to put the job salary in the job post. You have to tell us how much you're paying for the job, some kind of salary band. So that's a requirement now, and more states are going to be doing this as well. I think California is like on the cusp of passing a law for this as well, which would really shake things up for the tech industry. Potential bonus pay based on company performance. Okay. Opportunities to volunteer, give back to local communities. Love that. Comprehensive benefits package, 401k. Cool. Maybe mention whether you do a match on that. If you don't, that's fine. Paid time off. I mean, that's kind of norm anyway. But you may want to specify like how much time off. Is it like 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Is it, unlimited? You may want to mention that. Stock purchase plan. I love that you're calling this out. It gives them the opportunity to kind of invest back in the company. Overall, this is a pretty good job post. Nothing like really drastic other than the education. And then some of the expectations in here are maybe a little heavy for an entry-level role. But for what I've noticed over the level 1 and level 2 is you don't actually call out how many years of experience or what kind of experience. And so as a potential applicant for this job, I don't know whether I qualify for level 1, level 2, level 3 based on how much experience I have. And so you may want to put some range in there, like 0 to 2 years experience or 0 to 1 year experience. Or, for the intermediate level, level 2, say 2 years to 5 years experience. And for senior, like 4+ years experience or something like that. It will be a little bit subjective based on their previous work experience, but I think that kind of thing will help people who want to apply for this job have an understanding of which of these jobs do I even qualify for, because you're just saying I need previous experience, but you don't say how much. So I think that you could probably clean that up a little bit, but overall, it's a pretty good job post. And again, I would split out like which of these qualifications are absolutely required and which ones would be nice to have. Bachelor's degree would be a nice to have, but I think that could be down in that next section of like, icing on the cake, kind of like however you want to word it. But just say like these are like above and beyond things, that we'll give extra preference to or something like that. But people know that they can still apply for the job if they don't have those skills. Like I said, a lot of back end or like a lot of college and university folks nowadays are going to be graduating and they might not have any knowledge of databases or SQL. They might, depending on like what they studied and how they studied, but I think a lot of them are not going to have that kind of skill. But overall, good job post. Alrighty, we got through it. Hooray, thanks for that. And big shout out to Loyal Moses and Digital Dragon. Appreciate the gift subs for folks. Very much appreciate the gift subs. So all that's going into that pot of money over here. And now we got some people cheering bits over here. So that's fantastic. So MPRCD, appreciate the bits on that. Let's go back over to the screen over here. So yeah, really, really appreciate it. All that money is going into a diversity in tech fundraiser that I'm doing. And we're going to have to bump this up now. So I'll go find out from Twitch later tonight. I need to go update my my disclosure page. But if we do bang money over here, I got a whole link over here that you can go see all the money that I'm making as a streamer. All of that money is going into this pot, plus PayPal donations for the dragons and so on. All that money is going into a pot. I'm matching every penny in that pot. And then my employer is matching $1,500 more of that. And so the more we can raise, the better. I really want to get this to like $1,250 by the time I go to San Francisco on the 20th. I would love to hit $1,250 on that. And it's going to a group called Hack the Hood in San Francisco, and they're trying to raise up diverse talent within the tech industry, and I want to be a part of that. And so I want to give them this money and say, like, please, like, try to put this into a scholarship of some kind. And that would really be fantastic. So I'm hoping to give them, $3,700, $3,800, somewhere in there. If we can get this up to $1,250, then I match that. That's $2,500, and then the $1,500 from my employer, that'll put us at $4,000. So if we can hit that $1,250 over the next week and a half, I'm gonna be giving them $4,000 for the scholarship. So I'd be pretty hyped up about that, pretty stoked. And we got a level 3 hype train going on. It's been a minute since we've had a hype train on the stream, so you're welcome to continue to gift subs and bits. I think that'd be fantastic. It helps other people kind of learn about the community and grow. I'm just here to help people out. I got all kinds of free resources on the website. I don't put any ads on this stuff. The daily email series that I do, you can go subscribe to over here. I got to keep remembering which direction to point because everything's mirrored for me over here. But I got an email series that you can go subscribe to over here. Share that with other people. Let them know, like, hey, I subscribed to this series and you should go check it out. I've got on average, I have anywhere from 60 to 100 people or so subscribe to that at a time. And it's really great to kind of see the diverse nature of folks that reply to those emails and go, hey, could you like answer a little bit more about this? Or, hey, I've got an idea about this topic, that topic. You can reply to any of those messages and it comes straight to my inbox. And I love taking feedback from people about how they're written. And all of the emails are basically my perspective as a hiring manager on why I ask these kinds of questions. Like, why are these questions important? So it's not just these are the top 50 interview questions. I sort of tell you, like, this is why we ask these questions as a business. So that's been really fun to build and kind of sort of maintain over the years. And then for those that have just come in and hang out, I want to show this off again because I'm super proud of this. But over here on the wall behind me, you can kind of see right up against the edge of my lights over here is this piece of art from Babe Ross. Babe Ross did her first abstract painting on her stream a number of weeks ago, and I reached out over Instagram and I'm like, I really want that painting. Like, what do I need to do? So we haggled, we negotiated a little bit, and she shipped it, and it came in today. So I'm like, I got just the spot for it. It's going up on the wall. Um, in retrospect, I wish those lights were over just a little bit more, that I could have like actually hung it on that back wall. But that'll do. But while I was unpacking it, my oldest was looking at it, going, "Is that upside down? Like how? Like what's in the painting?" And so I was showing him, like with an abstract painting, like you can rotate that thing 90 degrees, and you see a completely different picture every time. So yeah, that is an original Babe Ross. She signed it on the back. She actually wrote a little letter on the back of the painting, and wrote a little handwritten note as well in the package, and I really appreciate that. So go check out Babe Ross. Go follow Babe Ross. She's really fantastic to watch on Twitch. Very talented painter, does all kinds of like paintings and sketchings and things like that. I painted a big 3D dragon that I did a couple of years ago, and I sent in those pictures and be like, hey, could I get a critique on like painting something like physical? And she's like, oh, I've never actually painted anything physical, but she was able to give me some feedback on like sort of like perspective and shading and things like that on this big dragon model as well. So go check out Babe Ross. It's really fantastic to watch. Pretty entertaining channel to go hang out on. So good times. MPRCD says, appreciate the insights. Need to go have dinner with Devilbird. Awesome. Have fun with the cats. Hope you're all doing well. And Devilbird actually won a resin 3D printer on Loyal Moses channel the other day. So thank you for everybody that participated in that hype train. Big thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. So yeah, Devilbird won a resin printer on Loyal Moses' channel. Loyal was doing like a ton of giveaways last weekend, was streaming for like almost 27 hours straight, and gave away a 3D printer, a laser engraver, just tons of filament, tons of resin, resin printer, little 3D printer nozzles, like just all kinds of stuff being given away. Felt like Oprah, like you get filament, you get filament, you get filament, you get stuff, and you get stuff. And so yeah, so I've been building up these little fidget cubes, and these have been like really fun, just these little infinite folding fidget cubes. And sent Loyal some 3D dragons, and Loyal unboxed those on his stream last night, and made a comment as he was pulling one of the boxes. He's like, "Whoa, this is like way bigger than I expected, Ian." And so I wrote in chat, it's like, "That's what she said." But we try to keep it family friendly on both our streams. But well, yeah, okay. Well, Loyal gave away the resin printer, but I donated the resin printer. The Loyal gave it away. Let's be honest about that. It's Loyal's community, and I was happy to help contribute and help build people up, and make that kind of stuff available for others that want to get into crafting and so on. It's fun. I was like really tempted to like get a second resin 3D printer in that shopping cart and like have one myself. But for the environmental impact, I'm not a huge fan of resin printing yet. They do have water washable resin, but at the end of the day, it's still resin, and you can't dump that stuff down the drain. And here in Colorado, we have to sort of collect all that stuff and take it to like a hazardous waste sort of depot thing to dispose of it, and that's too much work for me. And so I did it once, and I'm like, nope, that's too much of a hassle. And I packed up all the resin stuff and I sold it. So, but yeah, I mean, it's fun. Like I kept, like one of the only resin prints I kept is my little Deadpool bust, and the detail on this is just, it's amazing. It's so fantastic and smooth. I wish I had known a little bit more about resin printing at the time, but like the detail on this came out super, super clean. Like as far as like how to like scrub all the little resin out before curing it and stuff like that. Because there's a couple of rough spots on it, but just get some like 4,000 grit sandpaper and go over it. It turned out really nice. But yeah, I mean, I really like resin printing. I wish it was a cleaner sort of operation kind of thing where it wasn't so messy. But just working with PLA and PETG filaments is pretty low key, and pretty easy entry to get into. And 3D printers are cheap now. You can get into 3D printing for $200. You can get a printer, and you're printing all kinds of fun stuff. So. RC Maniac, good to see you. Water washable resin does not mean you can wash it down the drain. Yeah, exactly. It just means you don't need like gallons of isopropyl alcohol to wash the stuff off. But yeah, you can't dump it down the drain. Like you still have to, like, all that, like that bucket of water with resin in it is now toxic waste, and you have to dispose of it properly. You can't ever dump resin down the drain. So until somebody comes up with a resin that you can dump down the drain, I'm probably not going to get into 3D printing or not resin printing anymore. I have a UV light in our septic system. It's kind of the final tank with the clean effluent. I would never put resin down our drains here. Interesting that you have UV in the septic system. I guess that would kill off other bacteria and stuff too. But one thing that I learned on one of many channels, it might have been Uncle Jesse's channel on YouTube, is when you have that vat of alcohol with all the resin in it, just put it outside. And all the resin is going to harden inside, and then you strain it, and then you've got alcohol that you can reuse. So there are things that you can do, or you can like pour it all into like a glass jar and put the UV light on that, and then all the resin that's in the alcohol solidifies, sinks to the bottom, and then you filter it out, and then that resin can be collected, and then you can reuse that alcohol like a bunch of times until you can't see through the alcohol anymore, even after doing that process, because all the inks and the dyes and stuff like that aren't gonna clump out and might stay in solution in the alcohol, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like how much you can actually reuse that alcohol is pretty outstanding. We leave it in the sun to let it dry out. Yeah. So yeah, I did it once. Like I said, like I was trying to clean all this stuff up, and so I had this big Tupperware thing, and it was full of isopropyl alcohol with all the resin there, where I was like washing it in there with a toothbrush, and then I got the Anycubic like wash station thing where you just fill up the thing with alcohol, and it's got the little spinner in the bottom. It's fantastic. Loved that thing. Um, but at the end of it, you've still got toxic waste left over. And I'm like, nah, I'm done with that. It's also why I don't stream about 3D printing, because I get a little soapboxy sometimes. Anyway, good times, good times. Amsterdam says, just want some resin now. I have to find a good deal on a starter resin printer. So the Mars, the Elegoo Mars 2 Mono Pro something that Loyal gave away on his channel, it was marked down to $200 on Amazon the other day. So you can get really cheap resin printers that are really good quality. It was like Mono 4K Mars 2 something, and they had it at like 31% off on Amazon. And so yeah, I'm like, you can get really good deals on it. Somebody just came out with a new one. I think it was Elegoo actually. They came out with the Saturn 2. It's like a really big giant one. It's like 8K resolution with like a 9-inch screen or 10-inch screen or something, or 13-inch screen, like some ridiculous monstrous size, to the point where all of the standard like wash and cure stations that they make won't fit. Like if you fill out that build plate with something really big, you can't even fit it in that. You need like a 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot full of IPA to like go in and scrub the thing down. Much less try to cure it. You basically just have to leave it outside to cure in the sunlight, I guess. But yeah, I really love resin printing, like for the quality of it, but that's the only thing I like about resin printing. I would love to have more miniatures though. I think like, printing these little Cali dragons and stuff like that. So Moses or Loyal, this is the itty bitty baby brother of the one that I sent you that you unboxed last night, but it's the same filament. I'm also curious, Loyal, what your kids thought of the glow in the dark sparkle, and what your one child thought of the purple and pink dragon as well. Cool. Well, let's see. So we did a job post. Been streaming for like an hour and 20 minutes, and I feel like I haven't actually done a whole lot as far as actual tech interview prep. But good times. I just wanted to show off this piece of art from Babe Ross and stuff like that. But hope you're all doing good. So let me scroll back through chat here a little bit. Feel like I missed some other stuff in here. Painting's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, Babe Ross did a really good job on that painting. So I was pretty jazzed to have chatted with her, and lots of conversation over Instagram, and being able to kind of pick up that painting. And I'm like, I got just the spot, and I actually had it on the wall right next to me, but it's a really dark color of paint, and the painting actually didn't show up well on that dark wall. Let me go back over here and show you. Over here. So this was the original wall, and this is the color of the wall right next to me. And then partway where you see that curtain, partway across that wall, I changed the color to gray. It blended in too much. Like I had to put a flash on it to even like kind of make out some of the pictures. So I decided, well, I'll put it over on this wall instead. So I took a picture with and without the flash, and turned out better without the flash. But yeah, I have an original Babe Russ. She signed it on the back of the painting, which is interesting too. I thought she would have signed the front, but she wrote a little letter on the back in Sharpie and signed it and dated it and everything. So it's pretty stoked. So yeah, go give Babe Ross a follow. It's Babe Ross with 3 S's. Go give a little twitch.tv Babe. Oops, Babe Ross. So go give her a follow. I think she's streaming right now. You don't have to leave my stream, but you can put her on in the background if you want. Really, really entertaining streamer. Loves to interact with chat and chat with folks as well. Time reveal. I've seen you drop a few things in chat here, so let me go look at some of that. You got an interview from a recruiter, but I know I'm not qualified for the technical portion, so I want to postpone months down the line. How do I reply? And I followed up. I haven't talked to the recruiter yet. Cool. Well, let's dive in on this question for time reveal. So we had a question in chat that said, I got an interview from a recruiter, but I know that I'm not qualified for the technical portion, so I want to postpone a couple of months. How do I reply? And then went on to say, I haven't actually contacted the recruiter yet to reply. Here's what I would do. If you need more time, you can ask for more time. If they are a big company who's like constantly hiring, then postponing that interview is going to be okay. How I would word that is, hey, I appreciate you reaching out. I'm really interested in the opportunity. I feel like I want to do a little bit more study to be as best prepared as I can. Can we postpone 2 months? If this is a role that you're trying to fill immediately, I understand that a delay like that might disqualify me from applying, but I want to bring my best self to that interview, and I want to be prepared for any technical question that you can throw at me. And I would just word it that way and let them respond from there. If they say like, no, it's okay, like just come apply anyway. I think you could still hold your ground and say, well, I'd like to delay at least a month. Like I do want to get a little bit of preparation in and just say, I want to study, I want to do some leak code, I want to work on some of those things without making it sound too negative on yourself, because you don't want to give them the impression that you don't know like anything at all. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. You don't want to give them that impression. But I think that you could still word it in a way where it's a very short delay. But if you feel you need even more time than that, then that's going to be that's really going to be up to you as far as how long you want to push that out. Like I said, big companies like the FAANG companies like Google, Apple, Netflix, Google, all those folks, they're going to be constantly hiring. But if it's a smaller company, they're probably going to have fewer roles and they want to fill those as soon as possible. They don't want to drag out the hiring. It's expensive to hire people. It can cost anywhere from $10 to $30,000 to hire a person at a company. By the time you pay everybody's time, go through the process, and actually like pay for all that kind of stuff. And so there are considerations to make there. If it's a small company, they're going to want to fill that role much, much sooner. So keep those kinds of things in mind. And then they followed up in chat, said, thank you. It is a FAANG company. If it is a FAANG company, then they're going to be constantly hiring and they're going to have people delaying all the time. So it's no problem whatsoever to delay that. You can push that out as much as you want. If you want some good advice on that, you could go check out Midnight Simon. And let me drop that link here in chat, Twitch, TV. I think he's got an underscore in his name. But go check out Midnight Simon. Basically, Midnight Simon was reached out to by a Google recruiter and said, hey, would you like to interview at Google? And he said, yes, let me do that in 5 weeks. And he spent 5 weeks like just cramming on leak code. And then they got back to him and said, yep, we like you. We want to move forward. We want to do the technical interview. And he's like, give me another 5 weeks. And he basically did nothing but leak code for another 5 weeks. He basically quit his job so that his full-time job was preparing for the Google job interview. And he got the job at Google. And so that's the kind of like dedicated effort sometimes you have to put in. It's a temporary nuisance, but it is an investment in your career to like put other things on hold to have that dedicated study time. If it is a FAANG company, they'll totally be okay with you delaying because they're constantly hiring all the time. Now, if you have a very specialized skill set, now I got Liam Neeson in my head of like, I have a very particular set of skills. Um, then they may be a little more, they may put a little more pressure on like, no, we really want to hire you. Like, we really want to interview you sooner than later. It's still up to you. You're still the candidate. And at the end of the day, you're evaluating them every bit as much as they're evaluating you. And if they come across pushy and persistent and you don't like that, you can say like, hey, like, no, I really want to take a month or 2 months to prepare. So yeah, if it's a FAANG job and it's a development job, I would definitely be grinding on some leak code. I've actually got a handful of YouTube videos. Sorry, it mashed it a bunch of times, but you can go check out these YouTube videos that I made on how to sort of lower that leak code grind and how to do it in a smarter, effective way, as opposed to just constantly grinding like hundreds and hundreds of leak code problems. These videos will help you shortcut that process. It'll help you study a little more efficiently and a little more effectively for understanding the patterns of those leak code problems for the technical portion. But remember too, the technical portion of their interviews isn't just the coding. It's also going to be like, tell me about system design, tell me about architecture, tell me about how you built this project, why you developed it that way. And there's going to be more like actual verbal technical discussion that you're going to have to do as well. And if you need to prepare for that, then you're going to have to work that into the schedule that you come up with these other videos. But go check out these other videos. I think they'll really help. If you're listening to this podcast audio later on, you can go check out my YouTube video at youtube.com/Ian Douglas. I've got some videos on there. You can just search my channel on YouTube for the word leak code, and you'll see those videos online. Sorry, I had to put the little audio thing in there because as I split these out into the audio things for the podcast and so on, like YouTube, they'll be able to actually go see those links, and I put those links in the description. But for the podcast, people are like, what's he pointing at? What's he talking about on his screen? So I have to do better. I need to do better about audio prompts and things like that to actually say like, hey, go check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ian Douglas and like go find my videos on leak code. So that's why I had to put that a little bit in there at the end. But yeah, FAANG companies are going to be totally okay with that. Smaller companies, not so much. Smaller companies are going to be a little less able, not willing, but able to wait. If they need someone on their team, they need them now. They don't want to wait a huge amount of time. So that'll be the only main difference there. And if you want help with like how to actually word that message, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. You got my LinkedIn info over here. You can find me over on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to help you word those messages back to the recruiter if you want. Alrighty. Well, let's see what else has been going on. I'm going an hour and a half. Kids just started a new movie. What else is going on? How's everybody else doing? Anybody else have like job related questions, resume related questions, anything I can help with on the career side of things? I know my site is called Tech Interview Guide, but I do try to give my advice in a way that is accessible to people who are not in the tech industry and just looking for general, like, just another perspective on working like anywhere. Like, how do you provide that value to a company? How do you talk about that? So if you've got other questions on those kinds of things, I'm happy to address those in chat as well. You're welcome at any time to drop those questions in. I also have a way to ask questions anonymously. So if you don't want to answer or ask something publicly, you can send a whisper over to my bot and it'll show up in the channel as an anonymous question. And I'd be happy to help folks out there as well. TC19. It's a great question. I'm going to address it. Let me know what country you're in or what country they're based in. Because $250 a month? Like, unless you're working like less than 10 hours a week, not worth it. I do private resume reviews. Yep, that's right. Loyal. So I do private resume reviews. Actually, shoot, I was supposed to do one yesterday and I didn't do it. I'll do that right after the stream. But yeah, what I do is I put together a little private video for you. I do charge $50 for those. You can go check out that information over here in a link. And I'll put all these links in the YouTube description later on. I will do a private resume review for you. So I just need a little bit of context over like what kind of job you're applying for. And I'll do that resume review and send you a little video that I record on like, this is what I would improve. What I want to start doing on the channel though, is have people who are willing to say like, hey, here's my resume. Can you help me make it better? And I'm actually going to show you how I'm going to make that better. Like I'll pull it up in Google Drive and I'll show you how I would format it, what I would talk about, what details might be more important or less important to specific kinds of jobs or companies, show you how I would reformat it, send it back to you. It's up to you if you want to use it, but I want to do more of that demonstration as opposed to just talking about it. You're in Mexico. Is it $250 American that they're willing to pay, or the equivalent of $250 American? $250 a month is not a lot of money. If you've got enough skill to work, you could get a lot more than $250 a month. You can barely live with that, but you're unemployed. Okay, I understand that. Pickle, good to see you. You love your dragon. Awesome, awesome. It's 250 equivalent US dollars. Okay. Let me finish this caramel thing. Stuck in my teeth. I need to not eat on stream. Here's the thing. I had bariatric surgery 2.5 years ago. And so I have to constantly take like vitamins and supplements throughout the day, including these little calcium chews. And I have to take them at certain times of the day. And I don't normally take them during the stream. Normally I would take one like right before the stream and right after the stream. But my timing was a little off today because of work and other stuff going on. So I apologize for eating on the stream and the fact that I got stuck in my mouth. Just got here. Do you plan on talking about compensation anytime soon? I can talk about compensation if you have specific questions. I'm about to dive into a compensation question that just landed in chat. We're going to talk about that one right now. But if you have other specific questions, I'm absolutely happy to address that. RC Maniac says, I keep forgetting to send a tweet about the dragon. Yeah, if you get a dragon in the mail, I would love it if you could tag me on a photo and just say, got a dragon from Ian. And I'd love to see pictures. I love seeing like where people kind of pose them, and especially those Imperial dragons that kind of like sit up. I love seeing pictures of those. So if you can tag me on those on Twitter, I'd appreciate it. Cool. Let me scroll back a little bit and let's address that question for Kizu19. So we had another question come in chat while we were talking here. It says, do you think as a junior front-end engineer without any experience, I think without any experience, that I should take the first job I can get, even if the pay is the equivalent of $250 American per month, just to get started in the industry, or should I wait for a better opportunity? I would answer yes, but also no. Let me explain my thought process on this. $250 American is not a lot of money. Now, in this case, the person shared in chat where they're located. They're not located in America, but it's the equivalent of $250 American. They did follow up in chat and said that that amount of money like is barely livable wage. From that perspective, I think you could negotiate and say, my skills are worth more than $250 a month. I would like to be making this much money per month because that's what my skills are worth. You need to advocate for yourself. You need to stand up for yourself and ask for the amount of money that your skills are actually worth. If they don't pay you, or if they say like, no, we can't pay that much, that's on them as a business. If you really need the job, in this case, the person shared where they live and the fact that they're currently unemployed and they're looking for that first job in tech, then I would say, do what you need to do to survive. If you need to take that job so that you can put food on the table and you have a place to live, then you kind of have to. You have to do what you need to do in order to live. While you're doing that job, though, keep looking for another job. So yes, I think you could take that job, given the information that you shared in chat about being unemployed and needing the job. I think you could take the job, but continue to look for more work. Even if it sounds like, oh, they're only paying that and I'm signing up to be a full-time employee or whatever, you can still leave that job at any time and just say, hey, I found a better job for more money. So this is why you need to have that conversation first about how much you want to get paid. If you want to say like, hey, my skills are worth way more than $250 American per month. I know developers who make $250 a day in this industry. So it really depends on your level of skill and what you're bringing. Now, as a junior junior engineer, you're not going to have that level of skill, but you could still be worth, I mean, in American dollars, if you're qualified as an entry level developer in America, you could be making $75,000 a year. Divide that by two. Well, divided by 2,000 basically. So 75 divided by 2 is like 37. So you're worth $37 an hour. If they're making you work 40 hours a week, that's a whole lot more than $250. There are an average of 20 working days per month. And there are, if you work 6 to 8 hours a day, that's a lot of hours to only be paid $250. You're basically making like $2 an hour. Your skills are worth way more than that. So you do have to advocate for yourself. If you absolutely need it to survive and put food on the table, then do that. But keep looking for another job. Don't stop looking for another job. Like don't even pause looking for another job. If you have the conversation with them right away and say, my skills are worth this much money, can you pay that much money? If they say no, then you could say, I'll take the job anyway. And don't tell them that you're going to keep looking for another job. But later, when you get another job and you say, hey, I'm quitting because I found a job that actually pays me, what I'm worth, then they can't be surprised that you're leaving because you told them you wanted to make more money. You took the job anyway, but then you found another job making more money. So yeah, of course you're going to leave and take that other job. Now, it may also be possible that when this company hires you for that lower amount of money, you might be able to talk to them in a month or two and say, hey, now that you've seen what kind of work I can do and you can see what I'm capable of doing, can we renegotiate how much I get paid? Because this isn't enough. Like this is barely like letting me eat, and barely have rent or wherever you're living right now. You need to have that conversation with them too. You don't have to give them a ton of information or a ton of detail about it. It's none of their business. But you can say like, hey, my skills are worth more. Now that I've been here for a little while, can I renegotiate how much I'm being paid? You can always ask. They can always say no, and you can always go find another job. So keep looking for that other job and keep talking to them about it. If they give you a little more money, then great. Maybe you'll stay a little bit longer. But I would keep looking for that job until you find a job where you're actually paid the money that you're worth. That's important. You have to do that for yourself. I think that's important. But at the same time, you're unemployed and you need the money. So yeah, I would say take the job and then leave as soon as you find something else. And it won't be a surprise to them if you have that conversation. If you don't have that conversation ahead of time, just to give you some more context on this, if you don't have that conversation ahead of time and you just say, okay, I'll take the job. And then later you say, oh, I'm quitting because I found a job that paid more. Their response might be, well, why didn't you ask us to pay you more? Now they're losing talent and you're taking knowledge with you and so on. And so it from a company person relationship kind of point of view, I think it's a little friendlier where you've kind of set that expectation. They don't meet that expectation, so it's not a surprise when you leave. Where if you don't tell them that you want that money and then you leave, then they're kind of surprised by it and they might have some bad feelings toward you because you're leaving and they didn't even know that that's something that you wanted. So I would have that conversation, take the job anyway. Maybe they'll pay you a little bit more. You never know. Figure out what that hourly rate would be. So $250 a month, if they really want you to work like a full day, every day, 5 days a week, or however many days a week, figure out what that hourly rate is and say, hourly, like I'm actually worth this much per hour, like let's call it $25 an hour, $30 an hour. If they can't pay you anywhere close to that, and they could say, well, instead of $5 an hour, we'll pay you $7 an hour. That's better. But it really depends on like how many hours you're actually going to be working to make that $250. But I agree, it's not very much money. If you were in America, I would say don't even take the job. Just keep looking. You're going to find something that's going to pay you way more than that. Given where you're located and your circumstance, you need some money doing something, and it does give you professional experience. So yes, I think you could take the job, but keep looking for something else. Don't even pause looking for something else. Like keep interviewing, find a way to keep interviewing and chatting with other companies until you find something better. Cool. I appreciate the question. Thank you for asking. I know it's a little intimidating sometimes to ask questions in public like that, and so I appreciate that you asked. And that's also why I have this anonymous question thing as well. If you want to ask something anonymously, you can send it over to the bot, and it'll come up as an anonymous question. Just that way, people have a lot of opportunity to ask questions that they don't necessarily want to put their name on in live chat. As well as on the socials. If you connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, you can send me messages on all those platforms. I've got a small Discord community. If you want to join over there, you can send me messages on Discord. I'm happy to take messages over there. I'm trying to collect all of those anonymous questions into a single channel on Discord. And then occasionally on these live streams, I'll pull a question or two from Discord and answer those as well. And then I'll mark in Discord when I actually go through and answer them. So yeah, I want to give a lot of opportunity for folks to ask questions. I'm just here to provide my perspective. Doesn't mean my perspective is the right perspective. And I always appreciate other people that kind of hang out and chat and give their thoughts and advice as well. So Pickle said the exact same thing, like, yes, take the job and then leave right away for something better. Yeah. I think that that's important. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. Absolutely. But then, they shouldn't be surprised. If you have that conversation, they shouldn't be surprised that you're leaving, because you've told them already that you need more money than that. And if they're not going to pay you, someone else will. And you're going to leave when you find that other person that pays you more money. So. Awesome. Sharik VR, appreciate the follow as well. I'll give you some blinky lights and some sort of greeting sound in the background. I have it set randomly and it doesn't play in my ear monitor, so I don't know if it cheered or said hello or what it played for you there in the background, but yeah, appreciate the follows. So yeah, I would appreciate as well if you folks could go tell other friends, like, hey, there's this guy who streams interview advice and so on. If you want to tweet about it, I would appreciate it. I do live stream twice a week, and I always love helping people out. Once I'm back from all these trips and stuff in June, I'm doing a conference talk in Dubai at the end of the month as well, but I'm actually doing it from Colorado. I'll be doing it remotely, but once July rolls around, I don't know whether I'll be any less busy at work, but I do want to plan to have more people on the stream. And so I'm trying to find people who are currently going through boot camps like 100 Devs. If you're currently looking for a job, I would love to have you on the stream as a guest, where we can talk a little bit about your journey, maybe work on your resume, talk about sort of how you discuss those kinds of things. If you're brave enough and you want to do like a behavior interview on the stream, like I can ask you some common questions, then give you feedback if you want. It's totally up to you, but I think that kind of stuff is really educational to other people to learn how to answer those kinds of questions, as well as to hear feedback about answering those kinds of questions and how to sort of present yourself and how to practice that kind of stuff. And so, like I said, I do want this stream to be a little more on the demonstration as opposed to just me standing here giving advice to people. I do want to have more people on the stream, and I do want it to be more of a demonstration of here's how to actually practice this stuff and put it into practice. So if you want to be on the stream or you want to give me resumes to do like live resume, like sort of reformatting and so on the stream, I'd love to do that. You can reach out on Tech Interview Guide. You can go subscribe to that email series. You can go reply to any of the messages from that email series. Gioba99, appreciate the follow as well. I'll give you some blinky lights here too. I'm always happy to help people out with that stuff. So feel free to like email it to me or DM me on any of those platforms and say like, hey, I got a resume. We can chat about how to get it over to me or where to email it. Or you can just email it to me. I'm ian.douglas@techinterview.guide. You can email me over there at any time. And I'm happy to help people out. And like I said, if you ask me a question in a private channel, I may reword the question a little bit and put it in the Discord channel. And then later on, I'm going to say like, hey, I was asked this question anonymously. I would never attach your name to it. I want people to feel safe about asking questions. And I'll do everything I can to help you out. So let me know how how I can help. And we're going to do more of that as a demonstration on the stream as opposed to just like one-way advice. I do want to have more and more people on the stream as well. Am I an interviewer? I am an interviewer. So I've been in the industry, I've been in the tech industry for 26 years, and I've been interviewing people off and on for about 15 years. I've actually, I do consulting on interviewing.io. So if you do !IIO, I'm on the interviewing.io platform as an interviewer. I've done almost 1,300 interviews on their platform alone, as a paid consulting interviewer. So yeah, I technically qualify as a professional interviewer at this point. And I help people out with behavioral questions as well as like technical, well, both like technical discussion questions as well as like technical challenges, and give you my perspective as a previous hiring manager. I've been a hiring manager, I've been a director of engineering at a couple of jobs, and just kind of give you my perspective as an interviewer. Here's what you're doing well, and here's some areas I think that you could change. It's up to you whether you want to take that advice. I also tell people on this stream, as well as everything I do, listen to lots of people's perspectives. Don't ever just come listen to me and do what I tell you to do. You have to listen to a lot of people, form your own opinion, and then go follow how you want to do things. I think that it's really important. And as polarizing as these things can be, I do relate advice, like I kind of equate advice the same as politics and religion, where you might sort of learn or grow in a particular way. You might be raised more conservative or more liberal. You might be raised religious, not religious. As you hear more perspectives, though, you form your own opinion on this is how I want to vote politically. This is what I believe from a religious point of view or not. It's totally up to you, but you have to listen to lots of perspectives in order to form your own, to where you're not in this sheltered little bubble where this is the only thing you know and that's the only thing that you believe. I think you have to listen to a lot of those perspectives, especially when it's coming to advice around your career. So I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with me. I love interacting. I love meeting all of you and kind of hearing your stories and helping you out. We've had a lot of people come through the channel and go get jobs, and a lot of people with resume reviews that I've given. I did a private review recently with someone, and I sent them back the resume, and I heard back through a third party, like, "Hey, I just heard from so and so that new resume that you sent them, they got like a whole bunch of interviews." I'm like, "That's amazing. That's great. I love hearing that kind of stuff." Someone else that I taught and mentored got a job at a FAANG company. They came back in here and they dropped 150 gift subs on the channel, because they're making the FAANG dollars now. It's like, I love those kinds of stories. That kind of stuff really, like, yeah, that's what gets me fired up. That's what makes me do this. I love helping people out, and I love that we're kind of forming our own little community here about how to share that advice, and having folks like RC Maniac and Zooey and just all these names just completely evaporated on me. But a bunch of VIPs in the channel, even Loyal Moses. Loyal Moses was in the tech industry for a long time too. Like, I love that those folks are also willing to share their perspectives over in chat as well. I think it's good to hear a lot of perspectives. I've had people as guests on the stream that I haven't agreed with. We would look at a resume or we would talk about a particular thing and we wouldn't agree. We wouldn't like get in a fight over it, but we're like, "No, that's not right." And they'd be like, "No, that's not right." And it's like, and then we kind of look at the camera and go, "Hey, guess what? We're both right. We're both wrong." And now you get to go form your own opinion on what you think. And I think that that's really important in the tech industry, especially around career advice. So don't ever just go find one job coach and listen to everything they tell you to do. It's going to be a very particular perspective that they're sharing. But I think you need to listen to lots of perspectives. So I'm happy to help people out. But again, with the understanding that, opinions are like armpits. Everybody's got a couple. Some of them stink. Some of them stink worse to other people. And some people don't think they stink at all. So that's not normally the quote I would give, but you kind of get you get the point. I love helping people out, but definitely listen to other people and other perspectives as well. Gioba99 says, "Just followed you on Twitter. You seem like a good contact for advice." I appreciate that. Well, tell other people. If you find this helpful, if you find it helpful, tell other people to come by the stream. I put all these videos up on YouTube later on. Here's a link over to my YouTube. And so you can always go check out YouTube. I got lots and lots of stuff on there. I'm working through some automation right now where I can clip out those little questions and answers and just make short YouTube videos out of those and put them on playlists and things like that to help people out who just want advice on compensation or negotiation or, how to do a resume, or should I even bother building a cover letter? The answer is yes. And how do I do those things? And so I've got a lot of stuff on the YouTube channel already set up in playlists and so on, but I was doing it all manually until about December, and then I was doing the job hunt, and then work got really busy with a new job, and so I haven't gotten back to it till recently, and I'm kind of gradually picking away at it, usually while I've got other live streams going on in the background, but I'm like this close to getting the little clip bot thing up and running where I can just hit these buttons on my Stream Deck and it's marking the start and end times to then go out and extract those videos and audio samples and do all the other processing work and so on. So I'm almost there. We're getting there. We're getting really close. Creative Bears off lurking. That's fine. We'll make fun of them while they're not here. Coda 120, good to see you as well in chat. Hello. What else is going on in here? Someone was asking about compensation earlier, or was it compensation? I'm gonna go back and compensation negotiation. So Pickle was asking about, are we ever going to talk about compensation negotiation? I would love to. I have thoughts and perspectives on it. I was able to negotiate on several of my job offers that I got back in January. So I did my job hunt. I had 1 verbal offer and 5 written offers, and I negotiated on every single one. And some of them worked out. Some of them didn't. Some of them would only move so far, and they're like, we can't move any farther. It's like, okay, then I'm not taking your job. Like, if you can't even like match what other people are offering me, then I'm not going to take your job. Like, it's a great opportunity, but I can't. I got family, I got mortgage. Like, I can't take a job for less money right now in my career. So I'd be happy to kind of, again, share my thoughts and perspectives and opinions on, if you get this kind of job offer, this is the kinds of things you could say. It is a little subjective, though, in that I need to know a little bit more about the background of like, how much are you currently making? Like, how much do you want to negotiate and why? What kinds of skills are you bringing that you can leverage in that negotiation? So it's a little tricky to do from a very generalized perspective, aside from, yes, you should always negotiate. But I'm certainly happy to help with wording and maybe talk through like some of the negotiations that I did on my job hunt, and why I negotiated the way that I did, and why I ultimately took the job at Postman, where they didn't offer as much base salary as everybody else, but they offered me way more equity. And today we just got an email about the equity thing changing up a little bit for our benefit, which is outstanding. So like I was pretty thrilled to have negotiated 40% more equity on that, to now see this change that they're making to the equity plan. They're moving towards like a 401k match right now. They have a 401k, but there's no match, but they know that that's important. So they're trying to find a way of doing a retirement plan for everybody around the world in all of their various countries. Once they get that established, then they're going to figure out how can we match contributions up to some legal limit, and so on. And then they'll implement that for everybody around the world. So they're trying to like not just do it for Americans, but we've got a huge number of people over in India and all over Europe and Asia. We've got folks on every continent, basically every single continent we're represented with employees. And so they want to find ways of doing that for everybody, where it's equitable for everybody. So it's not just like one group of people getting some benefit that the others don't get. So I'd be happy to be transparent about all of that if that's something that folks want me to go through. I'll start pulling that material together, and we'll do it on a future stream if that's what you want. I'm happy to talk about that kind of stuff. Coda 120, I appreciate that you send a public thank you over to Digital Dragon for the gifted sub. Again, I appreciate the gift subs. It means a lot to have people help build up a community. Gioba says, am I from the US? I'm originally from Canada. I came to the US in 2000 on the what was then the NAFTA TN1 work visa. It was a 1-year temporary visa at a time, but you could renew it pretty much indefinitely, even though it was considered a temporary visa. Technically, they had no hard limit, like you can only do it for 5 years or anything like that. I did that for 6 years, I think, and then I got married here in the States, and then I got the green card through marriage. And I just got my citizenship 3 years ago in 2019. So I maintained just my Canadian citizenship for a long time. Now I'm a dual citizen. So Giova says in chat, I would love to know more, or I would love to move there, but I don't know how to get a job that has visa sponsorship. That's a little trickier because it does depend on the country that you're in now. I know with the H-1Bs under our last president, the H-1B visa structure was kind of shaken up a little bit, and there were a lot of things put on pause, and I think they shrunk the number of visas that they were giving out. So I'm not exactly sure where that lands these days, but it is a little bit trickier to get an H-1B there's you're from Argentina. It does depend on where you're from because different countries get different quantities of work visas and what they're for and so on. So yeah, I'd be happy to help you research some of that. Maybe we could do that on a stream in the future. These are all great ideas. I should write these down. I should find a piece of paper. Got a giant computer in front of me here. I'm trying to find a piece of paper. Let's open a new document. Actually, I'm going to add this to what I'm doing in create an empty table. Stream ideas. Negotiations. And then we had moved to USA with visa. So I'm going to write down people's usernames here so that I know when we actually get around to chatting, I can send you a whisper and say, hey, I'm going to cover that topic. So that was Pickle for the negotiations. So PIQ. Well, assuming you pronounce it Pickle. I read it as Pickle. And then move to the USA with the visa. That one is Gioba99. Cool. Yeah, I'm happy to chat about those on future streams. Absolutely. So I'm gonna keep kind of this running list of ideas for streams and at least share my perspectives on it. Again, understanding that, when I talk about how I moved to the States and the kinds of things that I needed to do, that was when we had the North America Free Trade Agreement where they had a work visa for that. They've since changed it. They've changed that whole agreement between Canada, the US, and Mexico. The fact that you're in a completely different continent means you wouldn't even qualify for that, even if NAFTA was still around. And so there will be different things there, but I can show you how I would research those kinds of things and look at those opportunities. There may be companies, though, that are hiring remote workers where you don't even need to relocate. I understand why people want to relocate, but it may be possible just to stay where you are and continue working, but work for an American company. That's always a possibility. There are also consultancy companies around the world who get jobs working for American companies as a business to business relationship. And so you don't even have to do like a single employee kind of thing. You can go join like a consultancy company, and that consultancy company then gets work from American companies. And then you get paid by that other company as an employee of theirs, and then they're working on a project for another company. I did that. We call it offshoring in the United States, but I managed a team in Guatemala, I believe. They were in Guatemala, and they were fantastic. They did a great job doing the work that we needed to do. They reached out and they said, hey, we've got experience building out this kind of platform, and it was exactly what we needed. So we had them do a little bit of consulting work for us, and they were like an hour or two ahead I think for where they were in South America at the time, or Central America. They were on a slightly different time zone than we were, but they were fantastic about working with us. So yeah, I'd love to share my perspectives on that. You're not good at remote. I like person-to-person relationships. Yeah, I get that too. That's going to be a little harder then. I would say like maybe the consultancy route might be a better option for you. But I can certainly help on the stream, like help you look at companies who, how do we even find companies who are hiring and offering like visa sponsorship, but then also looking at the statistics on how long does it take to get an H-1B visa or equivalent work visa from Argentina where you live to actually move to the States. So you might have to work remotely for some period of time until they actually get the visa, because the visa renewals, at least they used to, I don't know if that changed too, but it used to be in October. I think people would start applying in August, and then they actually gave them out in October or something like that. And like within the first mere minutes of like that thing opening in August, it was like full for the whole next year. And basically, if you didn't get your application in, you had to wait until the next August to apply. But a lot of these big companies, they're just constantly applying for H-1Bs. And so some of these companies will have an easier way to help you through that process. They'll have like whole teams of people just to help you with that process. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get that job. You still have to get through the job interview and whatever. But there might be some possibility there. I would say bigger companies are going to be better equipped to handle that kind of thing than smaller companies. My goal is to get to be so skilled that they'll kill for hiring me. I think that's everybody's goal at some point. RC Maniac says that kind of stuff is hard to get going. I talked to a recruiter at a company in Canada, asked about a 401k. Yeah, so they don't have something called 401k. It's like it's a registered retirement savings plan, RRSP, in Canada. But whether or not they can also contribute to that is I don't know. I mean, I had an RRSP in Canada, but I don't think any of my employers in Canada. I had like 3 or 4 jobs before I moved to the States, and I don't think any of them did any kind of matching, contribution. My company's indicated they're looking to do a ton of hiring in India, specifically in Bangalore, because they put a hiring freeze in the US. Yeah. I'm always iffy at those consultancy companies. Many come across as US companies being cheap. So they find the cheapest consultancy company, then consulting company pays people 1/10 of what they're charging US. I mean, consultancy companies already do that, RC Maniac. So I've worked at consultancy companies where whatever they pay me, they were charging the client company like 2 to 3 times what they were paying me. And, they're a business. They're doing this to make a profit. But working on a project for that other company, then you're kind of looked at like, hey, I'm paying like $1,000 a day for you, so you better know your stuff. Like, I better not find you Googling answers, kind of thing. Like, you should be training my team on all these things. Like, you better be an expert at this. And so it can put an unreal expectation on you as well. It can be pretty tricky and pretty daunting. But yeah, I mean, that's how consultancies work. They'll charge some amount of money and they pay their workers much, much less. But I mean, they're still paying people for the work that they're doing. And hopefully it's a livable wage in the country where those workers are. Um, but yeah, I mean, every consultancy is a little different. Every company is going to be a little bit different too. Core Count says our company does an RRSP match up to a percentage of your salary. That's cool. That's cool to know that companies in Canada are starting to do that or have been doing that. I think it's great. RC Maniac says, I find that consultancies also underpay. They can. It really depends on the company and like, if it's like, the other person that asked the question earlier, like, I'm unemployed, I'm in this other company or in this other country, and they want to pay me like a lot, like a really, really low amount of money. In that case, they're probably taking advantage of people. There's certainly going to be some of that, and that's why I suggested, like, if you absolutely need the money, take the job, but keep looking for another job until you find something else that pays you what you're worth. I think that's important. But yeah, I imagine that there are going to be consultancies that take advantage of people that are in that kind of situation. Say, oh, you really desperately badly need a job. Well, I'll offer you like a third of what I might pay somebody else, because they know that you're desperate. You'll take like any kind of money. But if you know your value and you know what you're worth, then you can advocate for yourself. But if in the case of the other person that was asking the question earlier, they were also a junior dev, and so they don't have professional experience to be able to go to a company themselves and say, I want to be a consultant. So instead of going and working for this other consultancy business, I want to just be a consultant directly to you. That's much harder to do when you don't have experience, because most of these companies want to see that you have experience in order to hire you. And so it's that whole, what they call it, a catch-22. You can't get a job unless you have experience, but you can't get experience unless you get the job. And that's the bad part of this cycle of, as a junior dev, you've got a tiny bit of experience. How do you get somebody to take a chance on you, to give you that job so that you can gain some experience to then go get a better job? And that's why finding the first job in tech is so hard. That's why I love being on a channel like this and help people out with my perspectives and ideas on how to really stand out as a candidate and how to go get those jobs. First job is the hardest? Absolutely. Hey, new coder, good morning to you as well. It's late evening over here. It's almost 9 p.m. where I live. But hello to you. See what else. I did a workshop for Scrimba over in the UK again last week. I want to put together a page on the website of like all the different places that I've done like YouTube videos and blog posts and things like that. I talked on Sunday about the one that I did for somebody was consulting on a piece for Dice and asked if they could quote me. And I'm like, yeah, you can quote me. but I didn't tell them that I had successfully sued Dice.com in the past in a class action lawsuit. But yeah, I've had like a number of other articles and interviews and stuff like that. So I want to get all that stuff up on Tech Interview Guide too, just so people have a place that they can find other places where I've given advice and stuff. So if you can't make it to the live stream or you can't make it to YouTube, you can still find stuff that I've done. It's 8 a.m. where you live. Awesome. Well, I hope you have an awesome day over there. Gioba99 says, I've mentored 4 or 5 junior backend devs, and they're either overconfident or underconfident. There's no ground in between. Yeah. I would say it's probably, I don't know. Part of me thinks it's better to be a little underconfident, but I think lack of confidence can hold you back. I did a mock interview with somebody yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I did a mock interview with them, and they almost canceled the interview. And they're like, I didn't feel ready, and so I thought about canceling, and they didn't do well in the mock interview. But I was able to kind of help them at the end and say, look, you're never like ever going to be like 100% ready for an interview. Like you think you're going to be ready, but you're not going to actually be ready. Like this is why we practice. This is why we encourage people like go practice, go find places that you can do mock interviews, whether it's Interviewing.io or Pramp or whatever. Go find a place that you can practice, but practice with people that you can trust to give you good feedback. That's the important part. Like you could practice in front of a mirror. That's not going to help you as far as feedback goes. You need to practice with somebody that can give you actionable feedback on how to get better. And so I was able to help that person out. And they said at the end, like, I was like so close to canceling the interview at the last minute because I didn't feel ready and I still don't feel ready. And so I was giving them sort of things to go study and things to go do from a practical point of view to better feel ready. But yeah, you're never actually going to be ready. And so I told them, same advice that I give on the stream here, like go get some interviews at companies that you don't care about. It'll help you at least practice the real interviews. See what it's really like in a real interview scenario, how nervous you get, how you answer questions, and then reflect on it, make it better, and then go apply for the jobs you actually care about. But if you go apply for the jobs that you actually care about first and you haven't actually practiced real interviews yet, then how you answer those questions is going to be a little rough, and you're going to walk away going, oh, I should have said this instead, or I should have mentioned this, or I wish I didn't freeze up at this point, or whatever. You can reflect on that after doing interviews with companies that you don't care about. Best case scenario, you pass their interview process and you get a job offer from them, and then you can go to these other companies where you do want a job and say, hey, I'm actively interviewing, I have an offer in hand, but I'd really rather come work for you. That can sometimes encourage companies to kind of speed you through their process a little bit. So lots of advice and stuff there that you can do. New Coder says it's Friday. Looking forward to a weekend. I'm looking forward to a weekend too. RC Maniac says, I realized when I was interviewing, I practiced, but I need to be confident in my skills because I don't know what they'll ask. The problem is not knowing which skills you need to be really, really good at in order to get through the interview. You don't know what they're going to ask until you get there. And so I commonly tell people like, look, you know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. Just go do the interview. It's my job as the interviewer to figure out whether your amount of skill or your gap in skill matches what we're looking for on my team. If it doesn't match, we don't move forward. If it matches, we're going to keep moving forward, maybe make you an offer. But you're not going to know that until you actually do the interview. But if you wait until you feel like you're 100% ready, like time goes by. Time's going to go by anyway. Just go do the thing. Because I think you could spend so much time in preparation and practice, and then meantime, some new version of something comes out, and now you feel behind again because you didn't learn the latest and greatest, and so now you go spend some time working on a project in some new framework or some new language because you think you need to know that in order to go get a job, and you're just going to get stuck in a never-ending cycle, especially in the tech industry, of there's always something new to go learn. So just dig in and just go do the interview now. Don't wait until you feel like you are 100% prepared, because you will never be 100% prepared. There's always going to be some question that they ask that you can't answer. And it's okay not to know everything. You can go to those interviews and not know 100% of the answers. You need to have a high percentage of answers, but it's okay not to know things. Like I said, it's my job as the interviewer to ascertain what you do know and what you don't know. That's my job as the interviewer. It doesn't mean you have to know all the things. The more you know, the better, sure. But I think you can get caught in that cycle of like, oh, there's more to learn, and then you never actually go interview. Just go interview. You will learn a lot just from interviewing about what you really need to know, and the stuff that you studied that you're like, yeah, they never even asked about any of that stuff. I spent all that time studying and practicing, and then they didn't even ask about it. As you do real interviews, you're going to kind of hone in a little bit more on like, oh yeah, nobody's asking about, this particular time series database that, I thought I was going to need to know and I studied up on, and like nobody's asking about that these days. I mean, there will be companies that ask about that kind of stuff, but like it's not going to be a common thing to come up. So is that something that you really need to spend time on? If that's where you're taking your career, then yes. But I would say as you do real interviews, you're going to learn a lot about what you actually need to study and how to actually answer certain kinds of questions. And then you make yourself better. I tell people on the stream, I even told my kids the other day, we were watching a thing. It's like, what does practice make you? And everyone yells out perfect. And they're like, no, practice makes you better. And I told my kids, I'm like, I tell people that exact same piece of advice on my stream. Practice makes better. Practice will never make you perfect at interviewing, because as you practice, you're going to realize that there are other things you don't know, and that's okay. It kind of goes back to what Geoba99 was saying is like, you're either underconfident or you're overconfident. I think there's like a happy medium in there of like where you need to go interview. You don't want to come across overconfident, but you're not going to go interview if you feel underconfident. So there's definitely a balance in there. Hey, Free Heathen, appreciate the resubscription. Appreciate that. 2 months in a row. Appreciate that very much. So Free Heathen, I sent you a message. Your dragon did get sent back. Hopefully it's going to land on my doorstep tomorrow, and I'm going to get these remailed out on Saturday. So I apologize for the delay, but I was ranting earlier about how, Customs sent it back with this form saying, the consumer didn't do this right. It's like, no, I did everything right. The person that printed the label printed the wrong label. So I'm going to get those corrected and hopefully sent back out Saturday morning. So hopefully another week and a half or so to get up to Canada for you. But apologies for the delay on that. So all 4 packages going to Canada that day for like HFW levels, PESLIS, yourself, and a 4th one. What was the 4th one? HFW. Oh, Freckled Science. All 4 of those got sent back, as well as one that was going to Africa. So I'm going to get them to do the proper form this time. So, yay. So apologies for that. RC Maniac says, I haven't learned telekinesis yet to get food into my mouth while I type. Yeah. And you don't drink your food. Yeah, that would be convenient. Just get one of those like hats with the beer thing, and just like blend up your food and just drink it through a straw. Free Heathen redeemed purple. So purple's not really a color, but I mean it did do Northern Lights back here, which has some purple in it. Yeah, I don't have just solid color, but if you do bang Nanoleaf, it'll show you the patterns that you can redeem. Unfortunately, it's on a 5-minute timer, so you'll have to wait 5 minutes to change it again. But thanks for redeeming the points. But yeah, next time if you do exclamation point Nanoleaf, it'll tell you all the patterns that you can do on the panels back there. I like the Northern Lights one. It's pretty cool. I miss seeing the Northern Lights. Like growing up in Northern Canada, you'd see them all the time, and it would be like this really vivid green, like just all the time in the sky. It's like, okay, yeah, Northern Lights, no big deal, whatever. And as soon as you move away from that, you're like, oh, I miss seeing the Northern Lights. They're like amazing and beautiful. So, for Heathen, I'm doing great. Thanks for dropping by. You're just here to cause trouble. All right, that's all good. You're here to stir it up. It's all good. Gives us a little variety in chat. It's all fine and good. RC says, I was debating with someone yesterday about Soylent and similar. Yeah. Ask me about Soylent Green. It's made of people. Free Heathen says, I can never give up all the green in BC. Yeah, for sure. So Free Heathen, my dad's family lives in the interior southern BC. So near, I don't want to name the actual town, but they're like right in the Rocky Mountains. If you know where Rossland is, they're kind of around that area. Not too, I guess, a little bit north of Okanagan Valley, kind of like right in the mountains. It's beautiful up there. I went up there, gosh, 20 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. Um, yeah, I think it was 20 years ago, and went golfing in the mountains for the first time. And literally, like you're standing at the tee, getting ready to like swing at the golf ball, and you look around, and it's just snow-capped mountains like all around you. And I'm like, they're like, keep your eye on the ball. I'm like, how am I going to keep my eye on the ball? I got like all these amazing mountains around me. It was really nice, and I'm horrible at golf, so I won't say how bad my golf game was, but if I had if I had $1 for every stroke in that game, I'd have almost been a rich man. So you're in Vancouver, cool. In the Kootenays, good deal. Yeah, BC is really really nice. We're gonna try to get up to Seattle, I think, sometime this summer, either July or August. My father-in-law is going to be in Seattle and wants us to come meet them in Seattle kind of area. And I think my family's like 5 or 6 hours from Seattle. So I'm debating the feasibility of like just getting up into BC to see them, but we'd have to make sure that all of our passports and everything are good and whether we can even cross the border and all that kind of stuff. So I think I think like the COVID restrictions are fine for like driving into the country now, but it's still going to be a lot of driving. It's like 4 or 5 hours to get there just to hang out with them for a little bit and then like drive back the next day or something like that. But I think it'd be neat for my kids to meet my dad's side of the family. They haven't met any of them yet. So you know that feeling? I grew up near New York City, so there was so much light pollution. I didn't really see stars. Yeah. So we went out. Was it last week? There was a big meteor shower that happened. And so I woke my kids up at like 11:30 at night. And I'm like, get in the car. We're gonna go see some like this meteor shower. And so we drove between where we live in Boulder. Right now I live right in between Boulder and Denver in Colorado. And we drove half of the distance between us and Boulder. And it was like pitch black, and we just got to see the stars. It was great. And so I was telling my youngest because he's got kind of an interest in astronomy, and I was telling him like, I want to go find like an actual observatory that we can go hang out at. And so I was also telling him like if we drove like over the mountains to get over towards like Grand Junction in Colorado, we could literally like pull off on the side of the road and camp, and like it would be so dark you'd actually see like the Milky Way kind of stuff. So Chris Pirillo rating with 68 people. What the heck?
Welcome, Professor.
Thanks for hanging. Appreciate you dropping by. 68 people. Good to have you. Thanks for making a ton of noise in my chat, messing up my chat with all those emojis. How dare you? Just kidding. Love it. Appreciate it. Thanks for dropping by. I'm Ian Douglas. I've got this whole channel over here, Tech Interview Guide. I love helping people out with career advice and interview advice and stuff like that. We've covered everything tonight from work visas to what else did we talk about? Now I'm all distracted with people resubbing. So Father Funk 3D, you got your little logo up here for being a subscriber. I appreciate that very much. So yeah, I always appreciate the subscriptions. If you do pay for a sub, Prime sub or otherwise, I'm happy to put a logo up here for you. I'm waiting on several of you, including Free Heathen, to let me know what kind of logo you want. Like, as long as it's work friendly and family friendly, I will 3D print any kind of logo and hang it on these lights for you back here. Maybe not the ones that my big fat head sits in front of, but I will get a logo of some kind for you up there. And all that money is going into this fundraiser. So I'm raising money for diversity in tech as a fundraiser. I'm actually meeting with a group in a couple of weeks, and we're actually going to give them all of this money. Plus, I'm matching all of this money. Plus, my employer's kicking in another $1,500 to also match on that money. So we're pretty stoked about that. So I'm hoping that I can get this to 1250. Hey, Pezlis, thanks for the gift sub. Mad Cat, good to see you as well. I'm like way behind now on chat because I wanted to explain like the whole like, get a logo and contribute to the diversity and fun kind of thing. Maker Deck logo. All right, I will get a Maker Deck logo up there. So send me a Twitch whisper and remind me because I'm gonna forget. But yeah, send me a whisper if you pay for a sub or use Prime to subscribe to the channel, or if you gift subs to other people. I've tried reaching out to a bunch of you saying like, hey, appreciate the gifted subs and so on. Like, let me know what logo you want back here. And I will definitely print those. So, yeah, Chris, I think I'm going to do a Maker Deck logo for you as well, unless you want something else. I remember seeing an image of Chris from one of the old videos that I downloaded for Chris. It was like a laptop sticker that you had on the back of a laptop, and it was like your face with the sunglasses. I may try and like reproduce that and get that up on a light for you too. But appreciate the follows. Appreciate all you folks dropping by. Love it. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. So yeah, we were covering everything from work visas to should I go take a job just to get experience and make like a very low amount of money? Is that taking advantage of people, or do I just go get something so I can put food on the table? It's like, yes, go take the job because you're unemployed and you need to put food on the table, but keep looking for another job. Like, I love helping people out with advice and just perspective from being in the industry for a long time. We also had someone come by whose wife was on a channel where we were doing a giveaway the other night, and that person's husband is actually hiring tech positions. And so we did a critique of some of the job posts. Was able to give them some live feedback. They were actually hanging out in chat and talking about like, oh, cool, I'm going to give some of this feedback to HR about what to improve about their job post to be, more accessible to people that want to apply for these jobs, but maybe don't have a bachelor's degree in computer science. It's like, you don't need a bachelor's degree in computer science to get jobs in tech these days. It helps for some kinds of jobs, but most jobs out there don't need a CS degree. And so like just being able to kind of relay that. What else did we talk about? We were talking about negotiations and compensation and writing out ideas for like, yeah, I'll totally be transparent about my job hunt and how I negotiated on all of my job offers and what that actually worked out to be, like what their initial offer was, how I negotiated, what I said, how we had that conversation. I'm happy to relay all of that information to help other people out. I'm totally willing to be transparent about all that stuff. So we'll talk about all those things. We talked about how I was like mailing these 3D printed dragons to a bunch of places, and I took a whole bunch to a USPS, like it was like a consulting storefront kind of thing. Like they do contract work. They're contractor for USPS. And so I had all these boxes packaged up, and they sent back 5 of 7. I'm pretty sure the other 2 are still en route to India and Europe. And the big one going to Europe has a bunch of smaller packages in it, which are then going to get redistributed to Norway and Finland, Estonia, Germany. Yeah, those 4. And then one going to India. But 4 of them going to Canada came back, and one that I was mailing over to Rwanda, Africa also came back because the actual sticker that they printed for the front of the box wasn't the right one. All they wrote on here was the inside. All there was a toy. It's like, okay, well, I told you on this custom form that I filled out that it was a 3D printed dragon model toy. All they wrote down was toy, and it got kicked back because it wasn't descriptive enough. It's like, well, I was descriptive enough. The person was lazy typing it in the computer. So now I got to like go back to them. So I spent $225.75 on shipping that day, and over $100 of that postage hopefully isn't wasted. I'm going to go like kick and scream at them and tell them they need to resend it for free because it was their mistake, not mine. So good times. So yeah, Pezliz, yeah, yours is waiting. HFW, Free Heathen, Freckled Science, all of your packages are coming back. So I'm waiting for Pezliz and Free Heathen's packages. I think they're going to show up on my doorstep tomorrow. So I'm going to take them Saturday morning down to that store and be like, you need to fix this. You need to get on that. Yeah, they're going to pay for it. I'm not going to pay for it. It was a mistake on their part, not on my part. I filled out on all those forms as a 3D printed dragon toy. All they wrote down was toy. It's not my fault. So. Tesla says it's in Colorado. Yeah, it came back to me. So it spent a week in Los Angeles going around different facilities over there in customs, but then they sent it back to me here in Colorado. So yeah, I'll get those. I'm waiting for the last 2 to show up. So they like 3 of them showed up on my doorstep yesterday. I'm pretty sure the other 2 are going to show up tomorrow. And then when they show up, I'm going to take them to the post office and get them sent. Yeah, it's the sisterhood of the traveling dragons for sure. Free Heathen. We keep it family friendly around here. It was funny. I sent some of these dragons to Loyal Moses, and he unboxed one on stream last night. He's like, I had no idea how big this was going to be, Ian. And so I wrote in his chat, I'm like, that's what she said. And I'm like, oh, wait, family friendly. So yeah, good times. Continuing the comment I made since raid happened in between, I worked with a panoramic view of downtown Manhattan. My coworker said you get used to the view, but it never gets old. Yeah, that's cool. Dragons are going to die of starvation. Yeah, they're all wrapped up in tissue too to keep the horns protected and stuff. Good times, good times. Tro Firelight, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that as well. Give you some blinky lights. So yeah, I've got all kinds of like help commands you can see down here. You can do like exclamation point help. You can see a lot of chatbot commands that I've been building up. I've been working on my own chatbot lately. One of the things I do is like clip out little bits of audio and video and working through some of that stuff. But yeah, appreciate you dropping by, Tro Firelight. Flamer, nope, that's not one of them. But you can do bang help. You'll see all the different commands, and you can check them out from there. So if you do like bang nano leaf, for example, you can redeem your channel points to like change the nano leaf lights behind me to some other pattern. I'm trying to figure out a way to hook up this remote to the light that goes up around the top, because I can change it from like blue to red to green or whatever, but I want that to be controllable as well. So I want to try and figure out like how can I like hack the remote to have the Raspberry Pi actually make the electrical signal inside of here so that people can actually like change the light or cycle the light. The one that's on top of my desk that you see here that's kind of glowing red, that one has an API. That one I can like make some kind of something available at some point. I'm working on other bits of automation that are more important than the blinky lights right now. I did look at Lumia Stream, but Lumia is expensive and it's not reliable as well. I tinkered with it a little bit and it doesn't do everything that I want it to do. So I'd rather just write my own. RC Maniac says IR Blaster. I've looked at that too, and I don't know whether it's going to be compatible with this exact remote. I think it's compatible with like similar things, but this one has a lot of proprietary stuff in the thing as far as like, you know, it's got an American flag where I can make these all like red, white, and blue, which you probably won't even see unless I tip the camera up there to see that they're all red, white, and blue, you know. And so I want to find a way that's going to make it a little more generic as far as like controlling that top light at least. But Lumia Stream won't control that kind of thing. Like I would have to um, I'd have to like really play around with Lumia Stream as far as like what its API is capable of doing. But in the meantime, I love tinkering on bots and stuff like that. So I know a handful of you are also streamers. If you ever want like any kind of Twitch bot or kind of integrations or things like that, I'm happy to help you out with that stuff. I think I dropped some notes in a handful of other community Discord channels and stuff. If you want help on building out chatbots and stuff like that, I'd love to help you out. Let's see what else. Likely just a standard NEC or RC5R remote, maybe. I mean, if it's that easy, that would be fantastic. I mean, part of me still wants to like hack the thing open and like actually get the Raspberry Pi or Arduino or something hooked up on all the actual wires and then like build a little API to like tweak the lights, but we'll see. And I don't really need all of the remote things on here because I've got the power on like a Google Home switch. So it's really just this button here that cycles through the colors. That's really the only one that I care about. Or if I'm like really feeling like party mode, I put it on that one and then like cycle it. Nope. Like that. So you kind of get a bit of an animated sort of pattern going in the background, but maybe there we go. So you can kind of see them moving in the background a little bit, but yeah, not a huge priority for me. For now, I'm happy just hitting a button on a remote and like cycling through some colors. But anyway, thanks for dropping by. I don't do anything ridiculous like Chris does, like Lego walks or the jelly beans or anything like that. The worst I get into is like I drink soda and burp on the microphone, not on purpose. Totally not on purpose. And I have to be really careful not to eat sunflower seeds. I snack on sunflower seeds all the time. But we already had an issue earlier tonight where I was chewing on a caramel and I got stuck in my teeth. And I'm like, just a minute. All right, let me answer your question now. So yeah, I try not to eat too much on the stream, but I do need more hydration. So awesome. And Jay Brinker, thanks for dropping by in chat to say thanks to Digital Dragon for the gift sub. So all the gift subs that happen, I appreciate all those. Those are all going into this diversity and tech fundraiser, and I'm matching all of that money. So I do need to go update it. We're a little out of date here with the bits and the gift subs from the last two streams, but I'm going to get this updated. I do want to try to hit that 1250 before I go to San Francisco. If we can hit 1250, then I'm giving that group $4,000, which is great because I told them they're only getting $2,000. So I'm going to walk in and be like, all right, $2,000, like, surprise. So I'm really looking forward to meeting with them and hear how I can help them out and help their students out. Their whole group of educators are all non-white men in tech. And I love that. And I want to help contribute to it, even if it's just behind the scenes, and just say like, hey, you don't have to come by my stream. I don't have to be the speaker. I've got all this free resource stuff that you can just have. Like, just take it, use it, give me credit for it, but like, take it and use it however it can help people out. And if they want to come by the stream and ask questions, they can. If you want me to come and give a talk, I will. But, I prefer just to be in the background. There are enough white men in tech giving opinions and so on the internet. I just love, offering perspective where I can and helping people out where I can. And then, since a bunch of you from Chris's channel follow this individual. Nope, that's not the right one. This is the right one. For those that follow Babe Ross here on Twitch, I actually got one of Babe Ross's paintings, and it's hanging on the wall right here next to me. So I watched Babe Ross paint this on her stream, and I reached out on Instagram, and I'm like, how can I get that painting from you? I would really like that painting. And then, so it's hanging on my wall right here now. So I was pretty excited to get that in the mail today. So I told her I was going to shout her out on the stream and like show pictures of it and stuff. I tried putting it on the dark wall right here beside me, but the wall is so dark, the dark colors in the painting, it blended together too much. And like, I could see it okay, but I wasn't going to be able to like take a good picture of it. So I decided I would just take a picture and just hang it on the wall over here. If I zoom out my camera a little bit, you'd probably see it a little bit better. But yeah, go check Babe Ross's channel. She's a very, very talented painter and artist. Likes to help give people advice and critique on their artwork as well, and loves to really encourage people in art and so on. So yeah, so I was pretty excited to get that in the mail today, just to, partly to support other streamers and other communities and so on, but also just, I loved the painting. I thought it was great. And then I tuned in her channel like a week or so ago, and she was doing this other painting, and it some people were looking at it, was another abstract painting. Some people were looking at it like, is that an underwater kind of scene where you're looking at like a coral reef, or are you like walking into a forest and you've got like some mountains and hills? Like, we're all in chat trying to give our interpretation of what this abstract painting was. And someone's like, but the right side of it looks like Batman. And before they said that, I dropped a message in chat and I said, Babe Ross, you need to make this painting suck, or I'm going to want to buy this one too. And then someone's like, it looks like Batman on the one side. So everyone started yelling in chat, like, where is she? Where is she? And I'm like, okay, I officially hate the painting now. I like Batman, but like, I don't want to look at an abstract painting and see Batman. And so I'm like, all right, fine. I don't want the painting now. But link to her channel, I dropped that in chat. It is twitch.tv babe_Ross with 3 S's. She was streaming earlier tonight. I don't know if she's still online. Yeah, she's still streaming right now. Actually, we may go raid into her. I was thinking about winding down anyway. We've been going for 2.5 hours. Normally, I like to raid into somebody who's doing some kind of coding and so on. Finance Singularity is always super entertaining to go raid. Hello, it's Rufio is also a good one to raid. They're part of the 100 Devs community. Midnight Simon, we've raided into his channel quite a bit. He helps people with leak code and so on from a coding point of view. But I think since Chris brought over a bunch of people who love kind of the maker community, I think we'll go raid over to Babe Ross and go make some noise over in that channel. Hey, Chad Dev, good to see you. No, you just got here. Well, thanks for coming by. Yeah, I've been going for like 2.5 hours. Where have you been? No, I always appreciate when people drop by. All these videos get put up on YouTube, and you're welcome to drop by at any time. RC Maniac asked, random, you're seeing camera switcher when you stream on Maker Deck. Did I write that script? The animation wipe kind of thing, or just Is that what you're asking? So there is a bit of a glitch in it where when I switch over to that panel, you actually see what I'm showing before it actually gets there. So there's a bit of a delay in like playing that animation. But they were overlays that I got from, I think, own3d.pro. So I signed up for their service a year ago just to get some basic overlays. But lately I've been doing more of my own stuff. But like this block up here at the very top that shows like the latest follower and subscriber and whatever, that comes from them. And I can probably go scrape some of that stuff now myself to where I don't need to use their bot in order to do it. So like I'm gradually rewriting all the stuff that I don't want to have to rely on a third person or a third party to do like stream elements and things like that for giveaways. I want to do my own giveaways and I want more control over how my giveaways actually happen and, voting and, polls and stuff like that. I want to do that myself, partly from the geek aspect of like, I know how to do it, but also because I don't like having to rely on third party services like Lumia Stream, someone mentioned earlier. Like I actually tried it and it worked until it didn't. And when it's something that you rely on and it no longer works, you're like, why am I paying for this? Like, why am I paying you, you know, $7 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever for these services if they're not going to be there 100% of the time? And so, like, I was on Amish Ace's channel the other night when he was giving away the PS5, and Stream Elements crashed because people were like constantly trying to buy tickets or whatever at the last minute to try to win the PS5, and it crashed Stream Elements. I think it literally like DDoSed Stream Elements. They went down for several minutes. People couldn't redeem any tickets, and he ended up delaying his giveaway because he was reliant on that system. Where I think you can build robust systems and not have to rely on third party things that are like listening on tons and tons of channels and trying to keep up on all that traffic all at the same time. So for me, part of it's the learning experience of doing it myself, and part of it's just because I want a little more control over like what I want to do. Like for example, I want to do Bang Resume for the resume reviews. I had to call it Bang Resume Review because if you do Bang Resume in chat, that's how Stream Elements sees it. It's like, oh, you want to resume playing some music? It's like, no, I want a resume review. I'm trying to do Bang Resume to get a resume review, or like to put this link on how to get a resume review on my channel. But if you do Bang Resume, I'm not even typing in the right channel here. You Bang Resume, then Stream Elements kicks in. It's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna like play the next song request. It's like I don't even do music. I don't even have that enabled on Stream Elements. So, but I can't turn it off either. So that kind of thing is like hard coded into Stream Elements, and it irritates the crap out of me. So that's why I've been rewriting all this stuff myself, so I can shut off Stream Elements and not use it anymore. Anyway, long-winded answer. Let's go right over to Babe Ross. Yeah, you can't stop the default ones, and it's really annoying. All right, well, let's go hang out with Babe Ross and see what she's up to over there. Thanks for the questions in chat. I really appreciate it. Thanks again for all the gift subs and the bits. I'm gonna get all these things updated later tonight, and we'll get that financial disclosure page updated as well for all that money. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it. Hey, Juggling Biohazards, good to see you. And that's the custom logo that I made for Juggling Biohazards. So if you are if you do sub to my channel, I'll 3D print you something for these lights. Just send me a Twitch whisper and let me know. And we'll see you over in Babe Ross's channel. And then we'll see you again Sunday morning for my next stream. Have a great weekend, everyone. Cheers.